Alrighty, welcome back everybody to our latest winter storm update. I hope everybody's having a good evening thus far. We are going live because we have a winter storm coming up this weekend. It's mainly going to be tomorrow night, Saturday, and Sunday. So I want to give everybody a little heads up of what's upcoming. This is going to be a pretty significant winter storm for those in the mid-Atlantic, and this is an area that we covered earlier in the week for our previous winter storm that ended up bringing an ice storm to areas like the Ohio Valley and back into the deep south. And now we are talking about the risk of heavy snowfall tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday that could actually lead to over a foot of snow in some locations. And in some cases, we actually could see the possibility of some records nearing or breaking records in terms of snowfall along the East Coast. I also just want to go into questions, all that sort of stuff. Like, again, this is another one of those like pre-streams, if you will, in terms of our winter storm that is upcoming, as we do plan to be live pretty much all day Saturday, covering yet again another significant winter storm that is forecasted to impact tens of millions of people in areas like the mid-Atlantic and even back over into southern New England. So there's a lot to break down this stream. We also have a lot of updates that we have in regards to our previous winter storm, and we also have updates in terms of state of emergencies and other things regarding this winter storm that we are going to dive into. So again, a lot of stuff to talk about here tonight. Obviously, it is my birthday, so this stream will probably not be nearly as long as it usually would be, but nonetheless, we'll be going over the winter storm that is upcoming here this weekend. So I want to begin with the watches and warnings right now. We have winter storm watches that are currently in effect for most of North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, and even back over into Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia, you guys will be seeing snow this weekend. So snow is coming over in Atlanta, Georgia, back into Greenville, Charlotte, Raleigh, and all the way up towards Richmond. We have winter storm warnings that have just been issued as well back over in the Appalachian Mountains near Johnson City, just to the south of Beckley. And also, if you're back over in eastern Kentucky and southern West Virginia, we now have winter weather advisories that have been issued, and that is where we're expecting the threat of some snowfall as we go into late tomorrow night and as well as early Saturday. And then further off to the north, there's a very small area in New England right now. It's just Cape Cod and Nantucket who is under winter storm watches right now. So we are expecting some snow if you're back over in Cape Cod, Nantucket, and those surrounding areas where we actually could see upwards of 6+ inches of snow depending on the track of this winter storm. There's another really cool thing that I want to point out with this winter storm. I think it's cool, at least. There is a possibility of snow down in areas like Florida as we go into this weekend. And I'm not even kidding. Tampa Bay could actually see snowfall, maybe even some accumulation as we go into Saturday night and early Sunday. We could see snow back over near Jacksonville, Daytona Beach. It's not going to be really a winter storm in these areas, but there could be at least a little bit of snowfall back over in Florida. So we are going to be breaking that down on this live stream for you guys here over the next several minutes. All right, so I want to begin with our general weather pattern, just kind of going over what's going on right now. Why are we seeing yet again another winter storm? And obviously, this is kind of a rare winter storm, in my opinion. We're talking about one of those bomb cyclones, which happens a couple of times every winter, but this one has the potential to be some sort of nor'easter. So we're going to talk more about that first. Right now, we have this large Arctic air mass that is sitting back over in Canada in the Northeast. And this is actually the Arctic air that spilled into the United States last weekend. This is actually the same Arctic air mass. It's just been spinning and cycling back over in Canada, and it's about to unleash yet again very cold air all the way down into the southeast as we go into tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. And you can see this bright white area right here. These are very cold temperatures that'll be diving all the way down into the southeast, and this is going to break a ton of records back over in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and South Carolina, with the risk of temperatures as low as 10 to 20 degrees in some locations Saturday and Sunday. And I'm obviously wearing my hoodie right now. It is already starting to get cold here in Florida, and so it's just going to continue here over the next several days, but it's going to get a lot worse as we go into Sunday and as well as early Monday. And the good news after this Arctic blast is that we should start to see a little rebound in temperatures by the middle of next week, but I'm not sure. I'm not really confident that it's going to last all that long. I think it's going to stay cold here at least for the next 5 to 7 days, and then things might warm up briefly during the beginning portion of next week. All right, let's talk a little bit more about our future radar and kind of break down exactly what's going to be happening with this winter storm. Before you do that, Riley has an update. Go ahead, Riley.
Hey Max, I sent you a graphic, and it's actually something I want to talk about. Talking about the air temperatures real quick. We're going to be referring to this as a polar blast, and that is because the air that we're going to make, or the air that we're going to see make it all the way down to Florida, quite literally came from the North Pole. So, this is a graphic from NWS Miami. This shows the origin of the air mass we're tracking right now that's going to cause this winter storm, and you can see that red line basically dragging it all the way north to south. So, this is a proper polar plunge or a polar vortex or whatever you want to call it, because this air came directly from the North Pole.
Alrighty, thank you, Riley, for the update. So Santa Claus basically said, hey, we're going to bring all that cold air and push it right into the United States this weekend. And so this is the exact pathing here of our Arctic blast. So it came all the way from the North Pole, and it's going all the way down to the southeast this weekend. So pretty cool graphic there. That is from the National Weather Service of Miami. And again, we are expecting blistery conditions. I'm not even kidding. We're talking about blistery conditions back over in Florida this weekend, even with a possibility of some snowfall. All right, let's break down the timing of this winter storm, exactly how much snow we're going to see. Let's just go into all the fine details of what's going to be happening. And I know some of you might be tuning in from areas like Mississippi, Tennessee, and some other states that might not be under any sort of winter storm watches or warnings. I do want to point out, though, that there is a possibility of snow this weekend in other locations. I think Nashville has about a 60% chance of seeing accumulating snowfall this weekend. That goes on top of what we've already seen from this previous winter storm. So we'll talk more about that. Let's go ahead and begin with our future radar here over the next several hours. So this is what it's going to look like as we go into tomorrow morning. I know we have some people also tuning in from areas like Michigan, Wisconsin, and back over in Illinois. Yes, we are going to see some lake effect snow. This will be primarily in far eastern parts of Wisconsin as we go into tomorrow morning. We do have one winter storm watch in effect right now for northwest Indiana, where significant lake effect snow is going to be on the table. But the big story is this right here. We're going to start to see some snow tomorrow morning back over in Kentucky, western Virginia, and southern West Virginia. These areas will be dealing with some very light snowfall. It's not going to accumulate into much, but we could see it dusting to a couple of inches tomorrow morning. By tomorrow afternoon, we're going to have a low pressure system centered back over here in the Gulf of Mexico, or Gulf of America. I'm not going to get political. I did not mean to say that. I meant to say Gulf because it gets political. But basically back over here in the northern Gulf, we're going to have a low pressure system developing back over near Tallahassee. And that's eventually going to move up the east coast of the United States as we go into Friday night and as well as early Saturday. So notice this. As we go into Friday night and early Saturday, we are eventually going to start to see moisture develop just offshore, and we'll also have cold air coming out of the north. So extreme cold is going to be diving from the north to south. It's going to be a very significant Arctic blast across the Ohio Valley and the East Coast. And all of this low pressure back over here, just off to the east there of Florida, is going to start to intensify. We're eventually going to see a bomb cyclone developing, which essentially means our low pressure center will drop by about 24 millibars or more within about 24 hours. So this is going to be a rapidly intensifying low pressure system as we go into Saturday. But before that even happens, Friday night, which is tomorrow, we're going to start to see some heavier bands of snow developing right along the Appalachian Mountains. So West Virginia back into northeastern Georgia will be dealing with some moderate to heavy snowfall. If you're over in South Carolina near Greenville, back over towards Myrtle Beach, we will begin to see some areas picking up some of those heavier bands of snowfall. These are the type of bands that actually could reduce visibility significantly tomorrow night and eventually as we go into Saturday. And there is a possibility with some of these snow bands that we could see over 3 inches of snowfall per hour. They're going to be pretty isolated though, so it's not going to really stack up that quickly, and they'll just kind of be spiraling here around the Carolinas. With that said, we will continue to see snow increase in coverage as we go into late Friday night and early Saturday. Now, I did point out in our video today that there will probably not be any ice with this winter storm. I'm actually going to take that back because there is a possibility of some freezing rain late tomorrow night and into early Saturday. It's going to be fairly localized. It'll be mainly over here near Myrtle Beach and back into southern North Carolina. We could see a little bit of freezing rain that could lead to some ice accumulation, and this is something that could be somewhat dangerous. All right, this is one of those areas that I really want you to pay attention to because it's not going to be a lot of ice, but even a glazing of ice, a tenth of an inch of ice, anything in that range will cause travel impacts, and some of these roads may not be treated. So if you plan on traveling back over on that I-95 corridor near Myrtle Beach, Charleston, those areas, yes, there is a threat there of a little bit of freezing rain. The biggest reason why is because our temperatures on the south side of where that snow is going to be falling, so our low pressure center will be right about here. In general, we're actually going to have temperatures temperatures right around or just above freezing back over near Myrtle Beach and also Charleston, and they are going to drop as that Arctic air comes out of the north, which basically means that we do have the possibility of seeing some very light ice accumulation. This is not going to be an ice storm, guys, all right? We're not talking about an ice storm. We're mainly just talking about a snowstorm here, but I want to alert you that there could be some travel problems. Riley has an update. Go ahead, Riley.
Hey, Max, I was going to touch quickly on two states of emergencies that we've had issue, as well as a DOT state of emergency. So South Carolina and North Carolina have both issued a statewide state of emergency. So that is in effect, and they have started treating roads today and are positioning additional plow crews. In Georgia tomorrow, they're going to start treating roads there. The DOT did say that this is basically their emergency level of system repair. So they do have extra plows ready, and they will start treating roads tomorrow 1:30 at about noon in areas like Atlanta and other parts of Georgia that are currently under that winter storm watch. So there are going to be some roads out there that are treated, but it sounds like in Georgia they're sticking to mostly interstates, and in the Carolinas we're seeing only interstates and highways being treated. So there is going to be some road treatment because of these states of emergencies that have been declared, but other than that, it looks like we aren't going to see any widespread road treating in terms of brine and salt before the event.
Alrighty, thank you, Riley, for the update. So again, 2 state of emergencies have been issued. We got 1 in South Carolina, 1 in North Carolina, and that number may grow a little bit more depending on the evolution of this winter storm. Virginia, Georgia, those are the only other 2 states that could have at least some significant impacts out of this winter storm. Maybe Massachusetts, but that's to be seen as of right now. This is what it's going to look like, though, as we go into Saturday morning. So again, snow is going to start to expand in coverage. We will have a lot of moderate to heavy snow falling across North Carolina, South Carolina, and even northeastern Georgia. So over near the Dawsonville area, Greenville, South Carolina, Charlotte, and Raleigh, all of you guys will be dealing with some moderate to heavy snowfall as we go into Saturday morning. Our most intense bands will be right along the immediate coastline. So near Cape Hatteras, back over towards Myrtle Beach. There could still be some freezing rain, though, if you're back over Myrtle Beach Saturday morning. It should be fairly localized once again. As we go into Saturday afternoon, that's when the freezing rain threat is going to start to die down. And then we're talking about some very intense snowfall. This is when our low pressure system is going to eventually rapidly intensify into a bomb cyclone, which basically again means our pressure is going to drop by 24 millibars in 24 hours. And this is something that I would almost call a snow-a-cane. What that basically means is that our pressure is going to get down to around 965, 970 millibars by early Sunday, and we could be dealing with some hurricane force wind gusts offshore, and then on top of that, it's going to be snowing. So, I mean, if you want to call it a snow-a-cane, you basically can at this point. That's what I would call it. And this could be the great snow-a-cane of 2026 here in the Carolinas. After lunchtime on Saturday, our snow is going to rapidly intensify back over near Cape Hatteras in eastern North Carolina. This is an area that I would expect snowfall rates around 3 inches per hour. So if you are in far eastern North Carolina, get ready for some very intense snowfall on Saturday. We will have some intense bands of snow trying to wrap around our low pressure system back over in eastern Georgia. It almost looks like a ring in a way back over just to the east of Atlanta, Georgia. Most of South Carolina will be dealing with at least some scattered snow showers. And then by Saturday late afternoon, this snowfall will continue to track off to the east. Let me go back to here. So this is what it looks like by late Saturday afternoon. So notice again, our heaviest snowfall will still be in eastern North Carolina, southeastern Virginia, and then as far south as Florida, we could have some snowfall by Saturday afternoon. Our main bands of snow that are going to be impacting areas maybe near Florida by Saturday afternoon would be back over here, just to the north of Jacksonville. And I also want to point out, even though that this winter storm is going to be very large over here, we do have a risk of some very significant lake effect snow in northwestern Indiana that could cause some problems as well. There is even a possibility in Tennessee and also in Alabama. The HRRR is picking up on this. We could have some lake effect snow in these states as well. It might sound crazy. There are a few lakes in Tennessee and as well as Alabama, and with the temperatures on the lake being much warmer than the ground level, there is a possibility that we could get some bands on Saturday that set up in these areas for some lake effect snow with very strong northerly winds continuing to push tons of cold air down to the south. So something else to point out there. I know we are not talking about winter storm conditions in these areas, but I mean, we could see a couple of inches of snow in some of those locations. Now, as we go into Saturday night, things are going to get a little bit more interesting. So let me skip ahead here to Saturday night. We'll have to go back over to the European model here. This is what it looks like around 9 o'clock on Saturday. We will continue to have a large area of moderate to heavy snowfall impacting Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, all the way up into southern Maryland. While that's happening, there will also be a risk of Gulf effect snow in Florida. So we do have a possibility as we go into Saturday night, our winds will be coming out of of the west. And if you're near Tampa, Orlando, Daytona Beach, there might be a few snow flurries out there. We could even see an isolated coating, especially just to the north there of Tampa Bay. So something that we'll definitely be keeping an eye out for there Saturday night back over in Florida. And then as we go into late Saturday night, early Sunday, we're going to be pretty much live this entire time period, I think, on Saturday. We will have a lot of heavy snow continuing in Cape Hatteras, all the way down towards Myrtle Beach. We will still have some light to moderate snowfall, even down towards Hilton Head. There will be a possibility of some snow. The Appalachian Mountains will also have some light to moderate snow still ongoing, and then a large ring of heavy snowfall will be around our bomb cyclone just to the east of North Carolina. The tricky part of this forecast really is Sunday right now. I think most areas in the Carolinas and Virginia will be picking up at least 6 to 10 inches of snowfall. But the question really remains is what happens on Sunday. Most models are keeping this storm offshore, which basically means we're going to be seeing a glancing blow essentially set up back over in southern New England, where most of New England really will not see a whole lot of snow. It will only be probably Cape Cod and Nantucket that actually pick up on any sort of meaningful accumulation. So in terms of our track of this winter storm, it's not overly favorable for right now for any sort of significant accumulation unless you're in Cape Cod or Nantucket. I think the overall gist of this winter storm is that it's going to move further offshore. There's even a possibility that a secondary low pressure system might try to form just offshore as well. We could kind of see some weird rotations with our low pressure system, almost like a Fujiwara effect in a way that could happen then. But generally speaking, our snow is going to be the most significant in the Carolinas, and also, again, just right along the immediate coastline, maybe as far south as Florida is where we could see some snowfall. And then during the beginning of next week, we're not talking about really any significant winter storm activity, but there could be some more snowfall in the Ohio Valley and back into the mid-Atlantic, so that'll be something else to keep an eye out for. All right, let's talk more about our snowfall accumulation. I do want to quickly talk about the winds, and then we'll go into snowfall accumulation. This is very important because we do have the risk of blizzard conditions this weekend. The local National Weather Service offices of North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia have all mentioned that blizzard warnings might end up being issued in some of these areas as we go into tomorrow. So do not be surprised if you wake up tomorrow morning, or maybe you're eating lunch and you all of a sudden see a blizzard warning for your location. It's entirely possible because our winds are going to be very intense on Saturday. So by Saturday around lunchtime, our winds will be ranging from around 20, 30, even 40 miles per hour right along the immediate East Coast, stretching from Virginia Beach back down towards Myrtle Beach. And we'll also have some wind gusts around 50 to 60 miles per hour if you're over in Cape Hatteras. I think Cape Hatteras is going to have some big problems on Saturday. Further back to the west, even though we're not expecting any sort of winter storm conditions, wind gusts will be very high across Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi. Wind chills will be down to around maybe 0 degrees, 10 degrees in some locations, so it's going to be brutally cold in the southeast on Saturday. And then by Saturday evening, that bomb cyclone will be intensifying, and that is going to lead to really high wind gusts over near Cape Hatteras and just offshore. There could be some areas, even in Cape Hatteras, that get wind gusts around 80 miles per hour. If you're inland in Virginia, North Carolina, or South Carolina, we'll be talking about wind gusts around 40, 45 miles per hour, and then around the immediate coastline, right near the beaches, that's where wind gusts can be upwards of 70 to even 80 miles per hour. So again, very dangerous winter storm setup because we'll have blowing snow, we'll have snow drifts, and those can all cause accidents and big travel problems across the board. And then on top of that, we'll be dealing with even some tough surf and also some really large waves back over in Cape Hatteras, which could cause some coastal damage. And then as we go into Sunday morning, the winds will start to die down a little bit. We'll still have some blowing snow out there if you're over in Virginia, North Carolina, or South Carolina. And then as we go into Sunday night and early Monday, our winds will be very high over in Cape Cod and Nantucket. That will also cause the possibility of blizzard conditions. And then the winds are a lot calmer for Monday and Tuesday right along the immediate East Coast. All right, let's talk more about our snowfall accumulation. We have our own graphic for this. We also have our latest model data that has come in terms of how much snowfall we're going to see out of this winter storm. And again, we'll be answering questions about this winter storm as well. So if you have questions, we'll get to those in a few minutes. I know a lot of you guys are asking questions. Just give us a few minutes on that. We're going to begin with our, let's go ahead and go to the National Weather Service blend of models first, and then we'll show you my forecast. So this is what we're expecting in terms of total snowfall as of right now. This is a pretty good idea of how much snow that everybody's going to see. I would say this is a pretty fair forecast as of right now. We could see more snow in some areas. We could see less snow. There's definitely a possibility that this winter storm does overperform in areas like North Carolina and South Carolina and even Virginia. But I want to say for at least right now, this is at least a generalized conservative forecast for most areas. I think that there's definitely room for higher totals in some locations. But for right now, almost all of North Carolina is forecasted to see at least 6 to 8 inches of snow. Yes, there will be some areas that experience some dry slots inside of that snow that could end up lowering totals. There could also be some locations that have huge snow drifts that could increase snow totals in parts of North Carolina. If you're over in Cape Hatteras, this is where we're talking about the possibility of a jackpot location of seeing around 1 foot of snowfall. The National Weather Service also thinks if you're in eastern North Carolina, you could also see 1 foot of snowfall accumulation. Back over into southeastern New England, this is another location that has a pretty good chance of seeing some pretty significant snowfall. I think right around 1 foot of snow is realistic right now for Cape Cod and Nantucket. And then really anywhere up through Maryland, New Jersey, even Long Island, I do think a few inches of snow is a possibility. It's going to come down to how closely this low pressure system tracks to the East Coast. The track is just so critical. And there's, again, 2 scenarios right now, one of which is more out to sea, which would lower snowfall, and all that snow would go down more to the southeast. And there's also a scenario where it tracks a little bit closer to the coastline, and that brings much more significant snow to areas like North Carolina and then back into southern New England. So again, that's obviously going to be on the table as well. Now, this is the National Weather Service forecast as of right now, and their latest forecast is showing that, again, almost all of North Carolina will be dealing with somewhere around 6 to 8 inches of snow, which is pretty significant for these areas. This will be one of the biggest winter storms that we've seen in years. And even back over in South Carolina, there actually could be some areas in South Carolina that end up seeing the most significant snow that they've seen, I believe, since 1989. So this is going to be a pretty big winter storm for some of those areas as well. And then back over into the Northeast, the National Weather Service is not as confident about snowfall right now in New Jersey, Maryland, or back into New England. Again, keep in mind, those numbers definitely could increase here over the next 24 hours. They could also decrease. It just really depends on the track of this low pressure system. One thing I forgot to point out, if you look back down here, I'm gonna have to scroll down just a smidge here. Let me go ahead and do this. So we're gonna take this off for a second, but look at down here over in Florida. There is a possibility that we could see a coating of snow in Tampa Bay, Florida, this weekend. And this was not on my bingo card in 2026, was to see snow over in Tampa Bay. The last time that we saw measurable snowfall was January 19th of 1977 was the last time that we saw any measurable snowfall in the Tampa Bay area. And that snowfall ended up causing 200 accidents. And if you're over in Florida, definitely make sure that you're staying aware of this. If we were to actually see legit snowfall accumulation, people might actually get pulled over for distracted driving, not because of their phones being out, but because of the snow falling. They might be looking out their window and be like, what's that stuff falling out of the sky? Like, that's the possibility that we have over in Tampa this weekend. So really crazy stuff there. There could be some light snow flurries as well right along the east coast of the United States. So that's something else that we'll be keeping an eye on as well for. Now, I do want to talk a little bit more in depth about our snowfall, but we'll talk more about that in a second. Riley has an update. Go ahead, Riley.
Hey Max, so before we get too far into snowfall, I kind of want to talk about some of the forecasting factors behind a bomb cyclone. So that's something we touched a little bit on earlier. A bomb cyclone is a system that drops 24 millibars in pressure in 24 hours or less. Because of this, it makes it a naturally very dynamic and very rapidly intensifying system. What that means is basically every change we see in terms of pressure is a change in how much area it's going to impact. So let's say we see 24 millibars of change. That is going to lead to the storm to be a certain size. But if we only see 12, it's going to be significantly smaller. On the other hand, if we see 36 millibars of pressure change, and once again, all of these are just sort of made up numbers to show how the forecast could change, we're going to end up seeing significantly more snow. Every time the pressure drops just a little bit more, that's more air that the system's able to pull in, and the stronger the winds are going to be, the more moisture it's going to get, and the more snow it's going to produce overall. The models have sort of been going back and forth in how much that pressure is going to change and how quickly it's going to strengthen. But as we get into snow totals, keep in mind that if we start seeing the pressure change get even lower, or a larger pressure change resulting in even lower system pressure, we're going to end up seeing more snow in more places. However, if we see that pressure change get smaller, leading to a weaker system pressure-wise, we're going to see less snow overall. So as we're looking at these snowfall totals, keep that in mind. And if you're looking at anything to track over the next few days, keep an eye on that pressure change and know that it will have big implications on the system overall.
Alrighty, thank you, Riley, for the update. That was good insight. Yeah, again, the intensity of this low pressure system is very important, and I'm going to talk more about snow in just a second, but I do want to point out, if we go over to the computer models here, this is, for example, the HRRR model as we go into late Saturday, and notice that our low pressure center is not going to be very intense over in the Carolinas. It's only showing around 992 millibars, and that is not going to really drop as significant of snowfall. It won't be nearly as intense, but look at the European model right around that same time. The pressure is down to around 979 millibars, 973, and that's going to drop a lot more snow in a much quicker amount of time. And then on top of that, the winds are going to be very high, so we're going to have blowing snow everywhere. So that's one of the things that we need to keep an eye on, is the intensity of this bomb cyclone and how quickly it intensifies. The GFS model has also been a little bit interesting. This is one of the models that we use a lot for winter storms as well. I tend to think the European is the most accurate for snowfall this time of the year, but if you look at the GFS, it shows 1 and 2. It shows actually 2 different low pressure centers that are kind of swirling around each other, and that is why the GFS model actually pulls our snow away from New England, which is very interesting. Basically, it's almost like the Fujiwara effect. It's very weird. It's not really something that I'm thinking is going to happen, but the GFS model is basically a drunk model, I think, as of right now, in terms of what we're looking at with this winter storm anyway. All right, so I want to break down our snowfall accumulation a little bit more in depth. I know we have a lot of people tuning in asking about exactly how much snow we're going to see, and this is the National Weather Service forecast, and we just broke this down. Again, eastern North Carolina, talking about 12 to 18 inches of snow in some locations. Most of North Carolina will pick up at least 8 inches. It's going to be a pretty significant winter storm for most of you. You can see the totals, again, are a lot lower along the immediate coastline, but this is the forecast right now. Let's say that this winter storm were to be more intense. Let's say it tracked closer to the coastline. What is the high-end scenario of this winter storm? Well, it's this right here. This is very high-end, and this is obviously very significant. It shows the possibility, if we were to see a high-end scenario, which is about a 1 in 10 chance as of right now, showing areas like Raleigh, Charlotte, seeing right around 1 foot plus of snow, and it's a very widespread area. Basically, anywhere in the red is talking about over 1.5 feet of snowfall if we were to see a high-end scenario. So, and again, I don't think this is going to happen, but if we were to see some changes to the forecast, it's entirely possible if this tracked closer to the coastline, and we also saw it kind of just drive right up the East Coast and go right up towards New England, there's a much higher chance that we'd see something like this. It shows South Carolina seeing some pretty historic numbers as well. Most of these areas haven't seen anywhere near a foot of snow in dozens of years, so that would be pretty crazy. And then back over here towards, Georgia and whatnot, it shows a pretty decent amount of snow even near Atlanta. But again, this is the expected number as of right now. So like Atlanta, for example, we think it's only be about 1 to 2 inches of snow. Athens will probably be right around 3. Charleston probably right around 2 to 3. Columbia going to be right around 5 to 6, and then over near Greenville around the 6 to 7 range. And then Charlotte should still see around 8 to 9 inches. That's what we're thinking as of right now. Again, things could change a little bit tomorrow. This is not a storm system that has really formed yet. It's going to form tomorrow night and into early Saturday, so there could still be some changes to the forecast, and we definitely could see some higher numbers than what we are seeing here right now. But it's really going to come down to what we see tomorrow in terms of model data. I also want to point out that this particular scenario does even outline parts of Florida seeing accumulating snowfall. Just outside of Tampa, there could be some Gulf effect snow tomorrow or Saturday night into early Sunday, and there is a possibility of seeing a coating of snowfall, which would be fairly rare. And maybe even near Jacksonville, Florida, that is also on the table. So definitely not something we're ruling out. And then if we were to see a high-end scenario, again, this would be about a 10% chance of happening. It does indicate that, yes, Long Island, Southern New England would be talking about over 6 inches of snow for most of these areas. Even Hartford, Nashua, Lowell, Boston, all of you guys would be probably picking up at least some meaningful snowfall. Now, let's say this storm tracked more out to sea. Let's say it's a pretty bad winter storm. It doesn't actually do much to the United States at all, and the track of it shifts more to the east. This is a more realistic scenario, which I know the gap between this and even our forecast is pretty significant, but if this storm were to take a more easterly path and go more out to sea, we'd be talking about a much lower amount of snowfall. So anywhere in the dark blue, maybe 4 to 5 inches. The yellow would be right around 6 to 7 inches. Like, again, this is not as significant, and we are not really talking about over a foot of snow if we were to see this storm track more out to sea. So that is just something I want to point out here, that yes, this is entirely possible that we can end up having a lower end winter storm. What do I think will happen? I do think that the forecast that is from the National Weather Service is currently the most accurate. And in my opinion, I think this is going to be the most realistic scenario. I think we could overperform just a smidge, though, from what we're seeing here. I do think eastern North Carolina, yes, there is a possibility that a few locations here could push towards 16, 17, 18 inches of snow. There could even be some areas in central North Carolina that get some of those heavier bands of snow tomorrow night and Saturday that push closer closer to 10, 11, 12 inches of snow. Like, I'm not ruling that out at all. But there also, in between those areas, there could be some dry slots, and any dry slots that feed into your location for a long period of time could drop our snowfall from like 8 to 9 inches down to, 5, 4, 3 inches. Like, it could be a lot lower in some of these locations. I do think that there will be some dry slots, though, that set up on Saturday. I think we'll have some dry air intrusion around this low pressure system that develops, and the HRRR kind of depicts that just a little bit. You can see here, for example, there is some dry air that builds into like South Carolina Saturday morning, and there's a long period of time where there's basically no snow falling there. That could end up lowering snowfall accumulation in general. So it's all things to be considered here if you're back over in the Carolinas. Another thing I want to point out is, yes, there is a threat of ice accumulation out of this winter storm. The good news is that this will not be as major of an ice storm, but freezing rain is possible late tomorrow night and early Saturday. If you're in Wilmington, Fayetteville, back through Columbia and Myrtle Beach, right along the North and South Carolina border, we have a possibility of around a glazing up to a 20th of an inch of ice. Again, that's not really that significant, but it is something that could cause some slick spots on the roadways, and again, could lead to accidents, especially right along that I-95 corridor if there are spots that are not treated. And then if we were to see it overperform a little bit in terms of ice accumulation, basically anywhere that's outlined in the yellow there would have a possibility of some ice accumulation. So that goes all the way up towards Greenville in North Carolina, and just outside there of Columbia, there is a possibility of seeing a little bit of ice accumulation. With that said, this is not an ice storm. The ice is not going to cause power outages. What could cause power outages this weekend would be the wind gusts from the snow-a-cane that's developing offshore, or bomb cyclone, as wind gusts right along Cape Hatteras could easily be upwards of 60 to 70 miles per hour. Riley has an update. Go ahead, Riley.
Hey Max, so actually one thing I wanted to talk about is the start of this system. This system was forecast to start over places like Illinois and Indiana around midnight tonight, and it wasn't forecast to be that strong. However, right now on the Evansville radar site, we are already starting to see snow pick up in these areas. So places like Newton, Princeton, Bloomington, and maybe even Louisville here, we're going to start seeing snow from this system today. We're only talking about this system a couple days out from now, and it actually starts today over the Midwest. So if you're seeing snow right now in Illinois or Indiana, we can see it on the radar here. I'm not sure if it's reaching the ground. We might still have cold air or dry air underneath the snow, meaning that it's not going to reach the ground, but this is the start of the precipitation from this system. This is going to move off to the east, and this is the area of low pressure that will eventually cause our snowstorm in the Carolinas.
Alrighty, thank you, Riley, for the update. So we actually already have some snow developing out there. If you guys are over there in Indiana or any of those states that were just outlined, let me know in the chat. Let me know if you guys are actually seeing snow, because there is a possibility that snow might be falling there. This is another interesting graphic. We've never shown this before, but this is the probability of at least seeing a 1/10 of an inch of snow. The reason why I want to show this is because if you look over here in Florida, the odds of us seeing upwards of a 1/10 of an inch of snow are actually somewhat high. I'm not going to lie. If you're back over near Tampa, if you're near Kissimmee, near Orlando, there's about a 6-7% chance. Over near Central Florida, there's about a 40% chance. If you're over near the Spring Hill area, near Tampa, again, if we see snow in Tampa, if we even see a 1/10 of an inch of snow, any sort of measurable snow in Tampa this weekend, what that means is that this would be the first time since the 1970s that we've seen any accumulating snowfall. So something to keep in mind there. If you're anywhere in the Carolinas, the odds of us seeing at least a 1/10 of an inch of snow are very high. Another thing I want to point out is that if we go over to here, this is our snow to liquid ratios, and this is very important. And the reason why this winter storm could overperform this weekend is that we have all that cold air that's coming out of the north circling around our low pressure system. So along the immediate east coast, areas like Charlotte, for example, back over near Cape Hatteras even, we are going to have some very significant snow this weekend, and any sort of snow that is in this corridor by 6 o'clock on Saturday, which there will be plenty of snow here, we have the possibility of seeing snowfall ratios around 18 to 1. That means for every 1 inch of rain that were to fall, we would be talking about 18 inches of snowfall. I do not think any of these areas will pick up an equivalent of 1 inch of rain, but in areas like Charlotte, just east of Atlanta, if any of you guys are seeing snowfall around Saturday evening or at really any time on Saturday, our snow to liquid ratios are just going to be so dramatically high that there is a possibility that some locations could overperform in terms of snowfall. And that's one of the reasons why our snow is going to be significant in these areas. It's not going to be a very long-lasting winter storm, but with that said, some areas like Charlotte and Raleigh are going to have some heavy bands of snow on Saturday, and that's going to stack up very quickly with that powdery, fluffy snow that is going to be flying out of the sky. All right. Now, this right here is our snowfall forecast as of right now when it comes to snowfall. So if you're back over in Florida, yes, there is a possibility of some snow flurries this weekend. The biggest story, again, is going to end up being how cold it's going to be. But if you're over in Orlando, Daytona Beach, if you're in the Melbourne area, Tampa, yes, there's a possibility of some snow flurries out there. I don't think it's going to be that significant, but if we were to see a coating anywhere, I think it's going to be an apocalypse back over in Florida. So keep that in mind. You could have some really crazy people out there. We could see some people trying to do some, water skiing on snow or something like that on Saturday. Back over in North Carolina, we're talking about at least 8 to 12 inches of snow back over near Raleigh into the Cape Hatteras area. 4 to 8 inches of snow from eastern Tennessee back into central parts of South Carolina near Greenville and also towards the coastline near Myrtle Beach. And then also anywhere in that lighter blue is about 1 to 4 inches. So if you are in Atlanta, if you're over in the Dawsonville area, if you're over near, Charleston, or even near what's the other place? Hilton Head. Any of those locations, we're at least expecting around 1 to 4 inches of snow. And then anywhere in the lighter blue, that is where dusting is possible. I honestly wouldn't be surprised, though, if that snow is to be a little bit more intense tomorrow morning. Some areas in eastern Kentucky could wake up to around 1 to maybe 2 inches of snowfall. So if you are in central eastern Kentucky, definitely not ruling out the possibility of maybe an inch or two. So that's something we'll be keeping an eye on. If you're back over in Indiana or even southern Illinois right now, we got a little band of precipitation moving through those areas. That's what's going to end up dropping at least a little bit of snowfall back over in Kentucky and far western parts of North Carolina. Again, this is what our winter storm watches and warnings look like right now. And on top of that, this is what our winter weather advisories look like. So again, there are a lot of areas as of right now that are at least under winter storm watches. That's anywhere in the dark blue. So that includes southern Maryland, North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, and back into Georgia. Winter weather advisories are in effect in the purple. And then anywhere in the pink, that is where winter storm warnings are currently in effect. And we have now a brand new high demand of liquor map across the United States. So if you're in any of those dark red areas, that pretty much goes from Georgia back into southern New England. Yes, there is a high demand of liquor right now. I'd say I think a lot of you guys are getting prepped for this winter storm. For some of you might think it's the right way, but again, anywhere in that red, that is where we're talking about possibly a high demand of liquor right now. Back over in Florida, I think people are starting to stock up. They see the snow maps coming in. They see the possibility of some snow flurries or maybe even an inch of snow, and I think they're getting ready over there in Florida. Another thing I want to talk about real quick is obviously we have Arctic air that is going to be impacting the United States, and this right here is our total power outage map across the Southeast. This is all from our ice storm this past weekend. Many areas in Mississippi, Tennessee, and Louisiana have been without power since Saturday or Sunday. It has now been nearly 5 days since these places have lost power. Nashville, luckily, has been getting much more of those areas restored in power, but look at Mississippi, for example. There is still a large stretch here that we still have upwards of 80 to 100% of people without power. This ain't good. This is really bad. And the worst part about this is that we have another significant Arctic blast that is about to slam even colder air into Mississippi, Tennessee, and Louisiana. So anybody that is still at their homes right now that don't have their heat on, don't have any sort of way to, have power, and that are freezing right now, you guys need to find a warm shelter because it is going to be very cold this weekend. I am very worried for those in Mississippi, Tennessee, and back into Louisiana that just do not have power right now. Our temperatures are going to take a significant plunge. These are the actual temperatures as we go into Saturday morning. So Tennessee near Nashville, it's only going to be 7 degrees. Kansas going to be sub-zero in some spots. Almost all of Ohio will be sub-zero. Mississippi, you guys will be down into the teens. And then Sunday morning will be worse for a lot of these areas. Nashville back into eastern Tennessee in the single digits and the low teens. Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, we're going to be talking about sub-zero temperatures. And then back into Florida even, we will have below freezing temperatures almost as far south as Miami, Florida, which is not something that you see too often, but it does happen usually about once every winter. And then as we go into Monday morning, that really extreme cold is just going to continue. And then these are the wind chills, so this factors in our wind, and it's going to be very windy Saturday and Sunday. Our wind chills back over in Alabama and Mississippi, they're going to be sub-zero in a lot of locations. In Arkansas, we're going to be talking about sub-zero temperatures. Sub-zero wind chills. Even Oklahoma near Dallas-Fort Worth will be sub-zero in terms of our wind chills in those locations as well. And then by Sunday morning, it is just going to be extremely cold. While falling iguanas down in the southeast and maybe a couple of exploding trees back over in the northeast. That's the kind of setup that we have right now for Sunday morning. So that might be something to talk about as we get closer. But falling iguanas are going to be happening all across Florida on Saturday and Sunday. Riley has an update. Go ahead, Riley.
Hey Max, I have an update from our lake effect snow event coming off in Michigan. So we did just get a updated winter storm watch for Gary, Indiana, and surrounding areas. They're basically saying that they're expecting over 6 inches of snow in this area. There's no winter storm warning yet for any of these area, and the reason is we don't exactly know how much snow they're going to see here. But some model runs have hinted that they could see up to a foot of snow in places around Gary, Indiana. Chicago, they did issue a winter weather advisory for that area. That is for 1 to 3 inches of snow across the winter weather advisory area, but it looks like the strongest band will be in the Gary, Indiana area.
Alrighty, thank you, Riley, for the update. Also, I just dropped my phone. Also, if we go over to this camera right here, this is over in Kentucky right now. That is not Kentucky. This is Kentucky. Maybe. There you go. This is live in Kentucky right now. We were just talking about how there's possibly a little bit of light snow out there over in parts of Indiana, and you can see it on the bottom right of your screen. This band right here is actually some light snowfall that is currently flying. That right there is in Lexington. So we got a band of snowfall. This is basically the beginning of our winter storm, and again, it's very early stages, but you can see a few snowflakes that are coming down right now. They're very small. There aren't very many. I mean, I think I saw 4 or 5, but there are a few snowflakes flying out there near the Lexington area, and so what you guys are seeing there right now, is not going to accumulate into much. We might see a few flurries, maybe a coating. It's not going to be anything crazy, but over in Lexington, Louisville, as far west right now as St. Louis, yes, there is a little bit of snow right now. This is going to be what's going to merge into our low pressure system tomorrow night, and it's eventually going to create a pretty large winter storm right along the immediate east coast of the United States. Temperatures right now in Lexington are running at about 22 degrees, so it's not very warm out there, but it's kind of is what it is at this point. It's going to be getting even colder as we go into tomorrow night. This is also live back over in North Carolina. This is one of the mountains. This is Maggie Valley. This is the Cataloochee ski area base. So this is obviously a ski mountain. Plenty of people skiing out there right now, and obviously there's gonna be a lot of snow this weekend, so this is probably a lot of fake snow if I had to guess. There might be some real snow, but there's probably a lot of fake snow. We haven't had a whole lot of snow in this area recently, but this weekend we could have upwards of 8 to 12 inches of snow in the Appalachian Mountains, which means these ski resorts will definitely be in a good mood. It's gonna be a lot easier to go skiing out there. It won't be all that fake stuff that's out there. And then this is live back over in New York, where we've already had a lot of snow recently. We've actually had some lake effect snow up near Buffalo today, and so there's a lot of snow on the ground there as of right now, but the ski resort's definitely gonna be happy. All right. And people that are saying this is AI snow, it is not AI snow. I've seen a lot of people talking about plastic snow being a thing. Plastic snow doesn't exist unless you're putting plastic into the snow yourself. I don't know how in the world you think there's plastic snow flying. I've saw that conspiracy theory going all over social media recently, but yeah. So that, again, that's what we're looking at though out there in North Carolina right now, and you never know, you might see somebody fall on that camera. We'll keep that camera on the bottom right of your screen. I was one of those people that fell victim to falling on my skis a lot when I was younger. All right, let's get some chat questions, and obviously, yes, it is my birthday. I appreciate everybody saying happy birthday. Yes, I'm live on my birthday. We've uploaded 2 videos today. Kind of is what it is this time of the year. I mean, sometimes you get really active periods of weather like we're in right now, and sometimes we get, really quiet periods of weather. And, we were in a quiet stretch of weather for 6 months. We hardly went live at all, and we have a lot more to go live for now. And so we'll, again, go over questions and stuff like that. This, again, will not be nearly as long as our live streams that we had, last weekend, and I don't even think our live coverage on Saturday will be as long as what we had this past weekend, but we'll obviously be live covering this since it is a pretty big winter storm along the East Coast. All right, a huge shout out to Tommy with the $100 super chat saying, happy birthday, Max. Watch out for those falling lizards from Cambridge, Massachusetts. I appreciate that. There will be falling iguanas in Florida on Saturday and Sunday, so big danger if you're walking outside. Also, huge shout out to TDS with the 30 gifted memberships. W's in the chat for TDS, really appreciate that. Thank you, Heather, for the super chat saying happy birthday. I appreciate that. I ended up getting a pretty good dinner tonight. I got there was a local Italian place that I went to, and it was pretty good. It was a good dinner. And that was earlier. I mean, that was kind of in between doing my second video and going live tonight. So thank you, Patty, for the $20 super chat saying happy birthday. Appreciate that. Stay warm. Yeah, I got my hoodie ready. There's a possibility on either Saturday or Sunday, if we're live on either of those days, I could have 4 jackets on. It's going to be freezing. Huge shout out to TDS, Christine, referee, all for becoming members. HR with the super chat says better than my local niece. Keep it up. From Virginia Beach. Yeah, I think Virginia Beach is going to be pretty interesting this weekend. You guys are going to be right on the cusp of seeing some really significant snowfall. If you are in Virginia Beach, I wouldn't be surprised if we push close to 6 to 10 inches of snow. It's going to be a very sharp line, though, between seeing significant snow or low-end snowfall accumulation. So definitely something that'll be interesting to see how that plays out this weekend. I think we'll be right around 5 to 6 inches. Hey, Zachary for the $10 super chat. Also, Kimber for becoming a member as well. Everybody's saying happy birthday. Appreciate it. Thank you, Rail, as well as Laura and Man, all for the super chats. And Rail says, do you have a guesstimate to what the storm is going to look like in Fayetteville, North Carolina? Yeah, I think Fayetteville and really any surrounding area in North Carolina, we're going to be dealing with mainly snow. I do want to, again, go to our ice accumulation map here to remind you that there is a possibility of maybe a 10th or a 100th of an inch of ice, which is basically a glazing of ice. That could cause some problems back over in Jacksonville, just south of Greenville, and then back into eastern parts of South Carolina. So definitely something to keep in mind here if you are in the Carolinas. There is a low end chance here of a little bit of freezing rain, which could lead to a glazing of an inch of ice again back over on the roadways. It's not going to be significant, but it's going to be enough to cause at least some travel problems out there. And this is going to be happening mainly tomorrow night and then into early Saturday. I don't think we're going to see any areas anywhere close to even a fourth of an inch of ice or anything like that. This is not going to be an ice storm, guys. All right, this is almost all exclusively going to be snow here along the east coast of the United States. But again, Fayetteville, I think we'll probably be right around 8 to 10 inches of snow. Again, it could go a little bit higher than that, could be a little bit lower than that. We'll just have to kind of wait and see what happens. Derek with the super chat says, do you think Washington, D.C. will pick up any accumulation out of this? You know, I really want to say you will if you want snow, but at the same time, I don't really think we're going to see a whole lot of snow there. If this track continues to stay as if it's going to stay offshore, which a lot of models are bringing this further out to sea once it goes up towards New England, I think areas like Washington, D.C. are not going to really pick up much. Maybe a coating of snow, maybe an inch if you're lucky. But if this does somehow track a little bit closer to the coast, if models change tomorrow, and it goes a little bit further back to the west again, then everybody is going to be increasing in totals once again. But for at least right now, the most significant snow should be located here in the Carolinas and Virginia. Thank you, Heather, for the super chat saying happy birthday. All right, let's see what else here. Thank you, Dubby, for the $50 super chat. Happy birthday. Here in Boston, hoping for some snow or some sledding. I mean, you guys already have a lot of snow on the ground. I think one of the biggest problems in New England this weekend, the storm track will probably stay offshore enough to the point where only southeastern New England actually sees snow. But, you guys already have a lot of snow on the ground. I mean, Boston, Providence, Gloucester, all you guys already have a ton of snow on the ground from this past winter storm. Not much of it has melted off. So, any snow that we get on top of this will make sledding conditions a little bit better. By the way, guys, if you have any photos, videos of ways you're preparing for this winter storm, or any photos or videos in general, you can send it in to us. There is a link in the description. It's reports.maxvelocitywx.com. I'll go through some of those as well. Thank you, Nina, for becoming a member. Huge shout out to Tyler with the $20 super chat. Quinn with the super chat as well. I remember when everybody wished you a happy birthday on a severe weather live stream and it wasn't your birthday. Yes, I know. That's happened a lot. That happened a lot during severe weather season. Once it's supposed to start in Raleigh, I think Raleigh's going to start late tomorrow night is when the first snowfall should come into play. So timestamps on the bottom right of your screen. This is what it's going to look like by around 10 to 11 o'clock tomorrow. We'll start to have some pretty sharp bands of snow developing on the northwest side of our broad area of low pressure. And then once that low pressure center really comes together and intensifies, we will eventually start to see some heavier snowfall in North Carolina, South Carolina, and then back into northeastern Georgia. There you go, Butterflies for the super chat. Cleveland, Ohio probably won't see a whole lot of lake effect snow. If you're back over in like the Danville area of Virginia, there is definitely a possibility of snow, but there really shouldn't be any lake effect snow back up there off Lake Erie this weekend. Early next week, there's a better chance. More with the $50 super chat says, happy birthday, Max. Mine is tomorrow. Well, happy birthday too, or at least an early happy birthday. Thank you, Gunner, for becoming a member. And also thank you, Ducks, for the super chat. Bro, the super chat says, how's Knoxville, Tennessee look this weekend? Believe it or not, again, tomorrow night there will be some light snow, could see up to a coating to an inch, but there actually could be some lake effect snow in parts of Tennessee tomorrow or on Saturday night. There's actually a threat right along the lakes. There's a few lakes there in Tennessee. Don't be shocked if we see some lake effect snow bands set up over there. They probably won't accumulate into much, maybe a few flurries to up to a coating, but there are a few locations like Alabama and Tennessee that have some lakes there, and there is a possibility of some lake effect snow. So if you're in Tennessee, Alabama, definitely don't rule it out. If you're back down in Florida, once again, there could be some Gulf effect snow Saturday night, mainly near Tampa, and perhaps as far east as Orlando. We could have a little bit of snow as well on the far western side of our low pressure system, spin down towards Jacksonville and surrounding areas, maybe as far south as Daytona Beach. So that'll be something interesting to see. By the way, guys, we have a few updates to our live streams I want to quickly go over. First off, whenever Riley clicks, whenever he has a relay, if you look behind me, obviously we have a blue light. When he clicks the light, click the light. So whenever Riley has like an update, we now have a new thing where the back wall will change to orange. All right, so that's kind of a new little feature that we just added to our live streams. And another small thing that we just started doing, which I don't know how long we'll do it. We might do it for a while, but we're also streaming to Facebook as well. So we're live on YouTube. We're also live on Facebook at the same time. If you're not already following me on Facebook, definitely make sure to go follow me. It's at MaxVelocityWX. But we've had some updates to our live streams. We have a lot of other cool stuff coming. We're working on a ton of stuff right now on the back end. And you guys are going to see some major improvements as we go into the end of February and also into early March. We have a fully revamped website that's coming too. Lots of cool stuff there. Not going to spoil anything, but that is coming pretty soon. So definitely some exciting stuff there. But a lot of new stuff is coming here as we go into the end of February and early March. And it'll help you guys also prepare for weather better. We have a lot of cool tools that we'll have, a lot of unique features, just so much stuff coming. All right. These live streams are about to get a lot better here over the next few weeks. Thank you, Brody, for the $20 super chat saying, love your streams. What is Roanoke, Virginia looking like this weekend? Still a lot of ice and snow on the roads. I think Roanoke is going to be on the cusp of around 4 to 8 inches of snow. If you look at the HRRR here, it shows basically the line of, moisture and dry air pretty much setting up right around here, which is just barely north there of the Roanoke and Richmond areas. So I think 4 to 8 inches of snow is pretty realistic. Most of your snow will be Saturday morning into the mid to late afternoon, and then you'll probably wind down by late Saturday night. Also, shout out to Jennifer with the Venmo donation, the $20 Venmo donation, saying happy birthday, Max. Thanks you for your hard work and dedication. Appreciate that. Subscribe back in 2024. Really appreciate that. The Robin for the Venmo donation saying happy birthday. Also, huge shout out to Awesome with the $100 super chat on PayPal. Really appreciate that. You guys are way too kind. This is basically a birthday stream. We've never done this before, I don't think. I don't think we've ever been live for a birthday. So this is a first, that's for sure. All right, we got a couple of photos and videos that you guys are sending in. We'll check a couple of these out. Again, if you want to send in any photos or videos, the link is on your screen. It's also one of the links in the description below. This is one of the photos that came in from North Carolina, from Conover. I'm going to go into sitting mode here. Chiseling through our 2.5-inch ice on the 11% grade driveway. Thank goodness we can go out on the other side of the driveway. We'll be ready for snow come Saturday. Thanks for all you do to keep us up to date. That is really crazy. Also, if you guys didn't notice, our my face cam now is more vertically tall. I've done that on videos and live streams. What do you guys think about that? I think it's a good improvement. All right, this is another photo of in West Monroe, Louisiana. We lost power at noon last Saturday and still don't have it back. It looks like a hurricane went through. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, we got power lines down. We got trees down. All sorts of problems here in West Monroe, Louisiana. Sitting mode is way better. Yeah, I don't move around as much. I do like standing for forecasts though. I've started to do standing for every forecast. I don't know why. I've gone to standing mode for literally every single forecast now. This is over in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. This was the most ice we've ever gotten in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Look at all the ice. That's just crazy. So much ice on the plants there, and even on that piping. This is Sandwich in Massachusetts. It's actually from Cape Cod from the past storm. Tons of snow on the ground. Again, none of the snow's melted, so if we end up getting a winter storm up there in Cape Cod this weekend, it is going to look crazy out there. Apparently, there are people at the ski resort on this camera going down. Let's check it out. I guess a bunch of people are falling coming down this hill right now. It's over in North Carolina where a lot of snow is coming. Apparently, that snowboarder on the right fell down. Look at all the people on the right. I don't know if these are like professional skiers or what, but... this will be, I don't know if the ski resort will be open this weekend, but if we're going to be live most of Saturday, this will be a fun camera to watch, I think. Hey, about 17,000 people are currently watching people ski down this hill. I went skiing in 1st, 3rd, and 5th grade. I think every single time I went skiing, I got injured to some degree. So I'm not like, you know, making fun of any of these people because like I was one of those people. All right, I was one of those people that ski down hills and it was a disaster. I mean, it was a broken ankle waiting to happen. So anybody else ski? Anybody else ski in the chat? Love winter and huge snowfalls. This is gonna be a pretty big winter storm. Again, it's not as large as the last one by any means, and to be honest, like I was kind of debating on even going live tonight. I mean, it's a little bit early, and we don't usually do winter forecast streams like this beforehand. We haven't done them for years, and we only did it last week. But I don't know. I kind of like going. I like going live, and the other thing is too. It's like, you know, it's at least significant for the Carolinas and Virginia. So I don't know, something new. I mean, maybe we'll do it again whenever we have another winter storm like this. But I'm not sure if we're going live tomorrow night. By the way, I don't really know yet, but we'll at least be live Saturday. Yeah, well, again, that's the ski resort. Let's back over to some of your photos and videos. This is from Vicini's in Indiana during snowfall this past weekend. A lot of snow there. But again, if you guys have any photos or videos, you can feel free to send it in. There's a QR code on your screen. It's also reports.maxvelocitywx.com if you want to check that out. It's one of the top links in the description below. She slipped on ice. There actually is probably a little bit of ice there, at least some sort of sleet, maybe freezing rain. Max, what about Pensacola, Florida? Am I going to see snow? I kind of doubt it, but hey, I wouldn't rule it out entirely. Saturday morning, we'll have a few little snow bands over in western Georgia and southern Alabama. It's going to be very, very isolated in general, but those can make it down towards the Tallahassee area. So I'm not ruling out some snowfall down there. Is it going to be significant? No, not really. But I mean, there could be, again, some flurries out there. And I mean, any significant in Florida is really, you know, just like a couple of snowflakes flying. You know, once you see a couple snowflakes flying, everybody's going to have their phones out, and they're probably going to be blurry photos anyway. But I mean, everybody's going to have their phones out there. I think Floridians right now are probably Googling how to drive in snow and what is black ice right now, because I mean, both those are on the table, you know, this weekend. Now, personally, I am not. I know I'm in Florida, but I used to live in New Hampshire. We got plenty more snow than this. Get your milk and bread. This is the kind of winter storm in the Carolinas where it's going to turn into a bread and milk trading economy. Like, we're going to have people trading the milk and the bread. Both of those are going to be traded over in Charlotte at your local Walmart. If you want to trade, people will be probably doing that tomorrow. It's going to be like an NFL trade. It's almost like trading like Mac Jones for, you know, Drake May. We're going to be trading both of them. Like, it's going to happen at the local Walmart over in Charlotte if you want to go check that out. Hey, Williams for the super chat. Happy birthday, Max. Thanks for all the live coverage during these winter storms. Appreciate that. Data with the super chat. I much prefer a sunny beach in Barbados. Happy birthday. Appreciate that. I don't disagree. Riley has an update. Go ahead, Riley.
Hey Max, I figured we should talk a little bit about the updates that we've received out of the last winter storm. So unfortunately, the total fatalities from the last winter storm is now up to 122. This makes it the highest fatality total for a winter storm since the 2021 winter storm that impacted a lot of the South. So 119 of those are in the United States. 3 of those are in Canada. And unfortunately, all these numbers are still expected to rise. But I'm just breaking it down state by state and as well as the causes, because I think it's important to talk about what actually causes these fatalities as we go into the next snowstorm. So there's awareness about these things and we don't see them happen again. But in New York, we had 15 fatalities associated with hypothermia, and there were a few of those were associated with shoveling snow. Same thing in Kentucky, where we had 12 fatalities associated with shoveling snow, hypothermia. And there was also a space heater fire. In Tennessee, there were 13 fatalities associated with a car crash, snow shoveling, hypothermia, and carbon monoxide poisoning. Mississippi, 11 fatalities with more space heater fires, hypothermia, and then there were also trees falling due to ice accumulation. Texas had 11 fatalities, once again, because of space heater fires, hypothermia. And there were also an incident with someone falling through a partially frozen pond, a sledding accident, and multiple car crashes. Indiana, much of the same: snow shoveling, car crashes, snowmobile accident, and hypothermia as well. Louisiana had 9 fatalities, hypothermia, carbon monoxide poisoning, and a car crash being the causes for those. Maine, there was actually a plane crash that caused 6 fatalities. Pennsylvania had 6 fatalities from snow shoveling alone. Virginia had 4 because of a car crash, snow shoveling, another ice incident where someone fell through a partially frozen pond, and hypothermia. South Carolina had 3 fatalities associated with hypothermia. Arkansas had fatalities associated with shoveling snow and 1 ATV accident. Iowa had 2 fatalities associated with hypothermia in a car accident. Illinois had 3 fatalities associated with a snowplow being hit by a train, another person falling through a partially frozen pond, and hypothermia. Massachusetts had 2 fatalities with another snowplow accident and shoveling snow. Michigan had 2 fatalities associated with hypothermia and a car accident. Ohio had 2 fatalities associated with a snowmobile accident and another snowplow accident. North Carolina had 1 associated with a car accident. Kansas had 1 associated with hypothermia. Maryland had 1 associated with hypothermia. Missouri had 1 associated with snow shoveling. New Jersey had 1 associated with snow shoveling. And Oklahoma had 1 associated with a sledding accident. Outside of the US, there were also 3 fatalities in Montreal, Canada. One of these, or 2 of these, were associated with hypothermia, and another one with a car accident. Most of these were avoidable. We're talking about hypothermia, snow shoveling, and improper use of heaters over and over again. One of the things we tried to push last stream was where those public warming shelters were located. That's another thing that we're going to do this stream, or in our next winter storm coverage as well, is because we're going to be talking about even colder temperatures for a lot of the U.S. And we also talk about carbon monoxide poisoning, generator safety, especially when we're talking about power outages. Make sure those generators are away from buildings. Unfortunately, that was the leading cause, or the cause, of almost all of the carbon monoxide poisoning fatalities that we saw. And then also with the space heater safety. Space heaters are known to be one of the leading causes of house fires in the United States as a whole. They pull the highest amount of power that they legally can, and that power is often not handled safely. We see multiple fires every single winter storm associated with space heaters. So if you're using a space heater, a generator, or anything like that, make sure that you're taking proper safety precautions, because unfortunately, in the end, a lot of these are avoidable. Another thing that I want to talk about with snow shoveling is it's important that if you're going out to shovel snow, especially last event in places like Arkansas, where we saw a lot of sleet, it's going to be really, really hard to sort of peel that sleet up and get it off the ground. So it's important that you warm up your body before going outside to attempt to shovel that snow. So do some stretches, do some light jogging in place, do things to get your body warmed up before you go out and attempt to shovel snow, because it is a hard activity for a lot of people and it does take a toll on your body. And if you are shoveling snow and start to see warning signs of your body being tired, take that seriously. Please stop, go inside. The driveway can wait. It's important that you take any precautions possible and listen to your body when doing stuff, whenever or whatever it's related with, whether that's shoveling snow or generator safety or space heater safety as well.
Alrighty, thank you, Riley, for the comprehensive update. So, again, if you're just tuning in, might have just tuned into the tail end of what Riley was just saying. We have at least 120 fatalities confirmed from our winter storm this past weekend. It is the deadliest winter storm that we've had since 2021. It has been, that's the February one. That's the one that impacted the Southern Plains. There was well over 250 fatalities with that one. So again, it is a major update over what we've had before. I think about 3 days ago, we were sitting at about 78. So the numbers continue to climb recently. And I don't think the number's done climbing yet. Again, a lot of people I know were put in the chat, like certain people, basically died from sledding, for example. And I mean, that is something that does happen, especially with winter storms like this. It's all fun and games, but obviously, when you're sledding on, icy surfaces and you're sledding onto a road, for example, it can be very dangerous. I saw some very crazy videos of dangerous activities, and, you know, stuff that I would never do, and I don't think anybody should ever do, but sledding down, you know, ice onto a road is definitely not one of them. If you got one car that slides out and cannot control themselves while you're going onto the road, like, that's just, you know, it's going to turn into a disaster. So again, don't be dumb. I think that's the biggest thing at this point in terms of at least that type of activity. But across the board, obviously, you know, the warming shelters are a big thing. You know, this weekend, if you guys lose power anywhere in the Carolinas, definitely know where your warming shelter is, as temperatures are going to be extremely cold. If you're in Mississippi, if you're in Tennessee, if you are in Louisiana, you need to make sure that you know where your warming shelter is as well, as temperatures are going to be very cold. We have a lot of places still without power in those areas. Over 200,000 customers are still without power, which is probably hundreds of thousands of people in those locations, mostly Mississippi and Louisiana at this point for power outages. So please make sure if you're in those areas that you are ready, you know, to go to that warming shelter, whichever one is the closest to you, if you can get to it. Thank you, Lillian, for the $20 super chat. 3 things. Happy birthday, Max. How much snow do you think is going to happen in Norfolk, Virginia? And could we potentially have thunder snow throughout this storm? Thunder snow is definitely on the table back over right near Cape Hatteras, right along the immediate coastline, I think is definitely on the table. But if we're talking, let me go over to Norfolk. Where is Norfolk? That is just outside Virginia Beach, right? Just want to confirm. If it's outside of Virginia Beach, which I think it is, if you are over in the Virginia Beach area, Norfolk, basically anywhere there in extreme southeastern Virginia, I would expect right around 6 to 10 inches of snow. We could be on the higher side of that. We could even be a little bit over that. We could also just be below it. It's going to be, you know, just kind of coming down to the track of this winter storm as we go into Saturday. We'll have a lot better details tomorrow in terms of the exact tracking. As of right now, though, the most significant snow will likely fall in this area here and maybe up into southeastern New England. If we see the storm track shift back to the west, we could also see the snow shift further west and also be a lot more intense in the Carolinas and Virginia, maybe even over in Maryland and, you know, New Jersey. It could be a bit more significant, but if the track is what we're currently looking at, which is probably going to be a bit more offshore, then I think the worst of the snow will only really be in the Carolinas and southeastern Virginia, and perhaps again Cape Cod and Nantucket. But you know, if this does track a little bit further off to the west, there's a much better chance of higher totals. That's what it's going to come down to. Shout out to Delio with the $20 super chat. Happy birthday. Appreciate that. Also, thank you, Jason, for the super chat as well. Missed a few others as well while Riley was talking. Let me go over to this. Courtney with the super chat says, do I have to cancel my kid's birthday party on Saturday in Wilmington, North Carolina? Is it unsafe for parents to drive? Well, the snow's going to be pretty intense. We're going to have blowing snow as well. The wind gusts are going to be, you know, pretty significant as well. The wind gusts across the board here will be inland around 30 to 40 miles per hour. So I would say to play it safe, probably not. But again, it's going to be more of your discretion. I do not think the conditions are going to be great, but I would probably wait till tomorrow to make that decision because, you know, things could change a little bit in that area. Hey, Christopher, for the $20 super chat. Thank you, Katie, for becoming a member. JW with the super chat. Happy birthday to our favorite meteorologist. I appreciate that. Go back over to here. I have some people asking about certain locations, one of which is Hickory, North Carolina. And we'll go ahead and display the actual snowfall forecast here from the National Weather Service. And we can put like a little pin on the map here. And so pretty much in that area, right around 8 inches of snow is probably what you guys are going to see. Back over near Raleigh, for example, again, I think Raleigh, Sanford, Asheboro, we're gonna be in that 8 to 12 inch range. I think if we're back over in the, you know, the Cape Hatteras area, this is where we could easily have over a foot of snowfall. So the Kill Devil Hills area, Elizabeth City, you know, some areas near Ocracoke, any of those locations will probably be right around a foot of snowfall from this winter storm. And again, if we start to see this winter storm a little bit further west than forecasted, these numbers will definitely increase even further inland near Greenville and Jacksonville. For right now, though, we're still talking about a pretty healthy 8 to 12 inches of snow there. If you're looking forward to snow, definitely a good amount of snow on the way. Virginia Beach area, we're probably talking about 8 to 10 inches. Any chance of snow at DC? I do think Washington, DC will see some snow flurries sometime Saturday into early Sunday, but accumulating snowfall doesn't look very likely as of right now. Maybe an inch. If this does take a further track to the west, it'll be higher. But for right now, we're only looking at maybe an inch. Super Bowl forecast. You know, the long term for weather is very hard to predict right now. We're in a very odd weather pattern that really never happens, and the models have been really all over the place when it comes to our long-term weather forecast. But beyond this winter storm, there could be some snow in the Ohio Valley Monday into Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, Thursday. So, again, maybe something, but beyond that, things just get very unpredictable. We'll probably have Alberta Clippers return again by the end of next week, and then by next weekend around the Super Bowl. For right now, it looks quiet, but again, things could definitely change. The GFS model is hinting at least something happens after, Super Bowl weekend here in the Ohio Valley, but again, it's almost impossible to predict really anything beyond even the middle of next week. Predictability gets a lot lower beyond Wednesday. Thanks, Shannon, for becoming a member. North Georgia, yeah, Georgia's gonna be a pretty sharp divide. Atlanta, I think we're gonna be looking at about 1 to 2 inches. If you're near Athens, Washington, this is where 4, 5, 6 inches are possible, so a little bit better there. And then the Waynesboro area, probably right around 5 inches, pretty much right around average. And then the Savannah and Bluffton areas will be right around maybe a coating to an inch. So not a whole lot of snow, but again, it's more snow than we've seen all year, for most of you, actually. I wouldn't say all year, because actually some of you did see a good amount of snow 2 weeks ago, but more snow than our last winter storm. Let's just say that, because all of you were basically dealing with freezing rain. This time around, it's going to be mostly snow here in the southeast. Shout out to Robin with the $50 Venmo saying thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm betting this overperforms. You know, I, again, would not rule it out. Our snowfall ratios are going to be, our snow liquid ratios are going to be very high. Across the board, the ratios in, like, Charlotte, for example, Saturday afternoon will be 20 to 1. That means for every 1 inch of rain that were to fall, it would be 20 inches of snow falling. It's going to be a very fluffy snow that's going to stack up very quickly with how cold it's going to be. So, you know, guys, I'm really not ruling out overperforming snowfall totals in some areas. It's just going to come down to the track of the low pressure system more than anything. Hey, Rage, for becoming a maximum velocity member. You down Knoxville, Tennessee area? You know, Knoxville, Chattanooga, I don't really think we're going to see a whole lot. Chattanooga, probably nothing. If you're over in Knoxville, we could definitely see around a couple of inches of snow. The National Weather Service is forecasting 3 to 4. So, yeah, I mean, that's entirely possible. I don't think we're going to be talking about anything that significant, though. It should be pretty minimal, I think. But it's snow. It's better than ice, I got to say. The ice storm that we had was, you know, something that I don't really want to ever have to forecast again. That was a very tricky forecast. And I know a lot of people were talking about how the forecasts were so bad over here in Georgia, in the Carolinas, but hey, I mean, if you really think, you know, the forecasts were overhyped and stuff, go back over here and see who still doesn't have power. We still have over 200,000 people without power, and if we even saw remotely what the forecast was gonna be for Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina, we would have the same situation over here, and power outages would be lasting days, if not weeks. So I'll just be grateful that we did not have a devastating ice storm in the Carolinas, because, man, it could have been a lot worse than what it was. And it's already been bad. I mean, we still have, you know, 5 days later, over 200,000 customers without power. Huge shout out to Tiff with the $20 super chat. Happy birthday. Thank you for keeping us in the loop. Roll Tide. Appreciate that. Thank you also, Captain Jerry, for becoming a member. All right, we got a few more photos and videos that you guys are sending in. Let's go ahead and check those out. Liquor demand map is great. What about a bread and milk map? Our designer needs to get on that. A milk and bread map. Great idea. Probably through the roof right now. This is over in Richmond, Virginia, which you guys over in Richmond are going to see a pretty good amount of snow this weekend, at least about 3 to 5 inches. But try to make a snowman by sticking sticks and carrots through the layer of ice we got. It's pretty creative. This is Chesterfield County, Virginia. More ice than snow. It's probably going to change this weekend. You'll probably have more snow than ice. This is over in Maryland. Our dogs love the snow, but we got enough last weekend, about 7 inches, that our corgi struggled to walk through it. Looks like it is definitely struggling. Katie with the super chat says, is Virginia getting snow next Wednesday? It's possible. I wouldn't say anything major is coming right now, but things could definitely change. Thank you, Ant, for becoming a member. This is over in Ravello, Kentucky, where we have still a lot of ice. They're saying it's the most ice since 1998. Kansas City, Missouri still has some snow sticking around here in Kansas City. Makes for a nice snowy ice rink while doing some HVAC filters. And this is over in Chesterfield County, Virginia. Most driveways and neighborhoods look in Richmond right now. And again, Richmond's going to have a lot more snow on top of that this weekend. So all that ice layer is going to kind of, it's going to be underneath snow. And that's actually going to make things a bit more dangerous. This is over in Rochester, Indiana, where snow is covering vehicles still. Still a lot of snow on the ground there. DeKalb County, Georgia has icicles. And this is from the last ice storm. So I'm guessing this was probably taken, back on the weekend, probably around Sunday. It's probably melted since then because most of Georgia has been above freezing. But again, I'm not expecting any ice in Georgia this weekend. This is Tiffany Williams over in Chesterfield County, Virginia. An ice rink over there in Richmond. And again, if you're over in southeastern or southern Virginia, again, we're going to be talking about a significant snowstorm. We're not talking about an ice storm this weekend. So you have a sigh of relief if you're in Virginia. There is a possibility of some freezing rain, but it'll be very minimal over here near Myrtle Beach, Columbia, South Carolina, back into Wilmington and Jacksonville of North Carolina. So there could be around a glazing of ice. That's really about it. It will not be much, but it's enough to obviously make things slick out there. Amy with the $20 super chat. Weather in Wilmington, Delaware on Sunday. I think really most of Delaware is going to be probably just some light snow flurries. I don't think we're going to have winter storm conditions there. Granted, things again could change tomorrow if our storm shifts further to the west, but I think mostly just light snow flurries, windy and cold. Birthday gritty? I haven't done a gritty in such a long time. East Tennessee, if you're in the Appalachian Mountains, we're going to be talking 8 to 12 inches, but Knoxville area, Chattanooga, coating to maybe 4 inches in some of those locations. Johnson City will probably be closer to 7 to 8. So this area here, 7 to 8 inches. Again, the higher elevations easily near a foot. Asheville area will at least see a few inches. Morganton and as well as Wilkesboro will be in the ballpark of 6 to 10. Charlotte should be right around 6 to 10 as well. Raleigh, Sanford, Fayetteville, all of you guys should be in that 6 to 10 inch range as well. And then further to the east, we go into the 8 to 12 inch range. That's pretty much anywhere near Cape Hatteras, Greenville, Jacksonville, and as well as back through Wilmington. We are still freezing in Indiana. Kids are out of school for a week. We've had school closures for a very long time. And I'm not sure they're going to be improving anytime soon, I'm going to be honest. They might not be improving at least until the beginning of next week. Maybe some of you will be back in school, but I know like Dallas-Fort Worth has been closed pretty much all week. I'm pretty sure even today was closed. It's been cold and there's still been ice. I'm not sure, maybe today was open, but I know yesterday was closed. When's the ice going to melt in Clarksville, Tennessee? Let's talk about it because, again, a lot of areas are not going to be above freezing anytime soon. Here are the temperatures that are forecasted for the next few days. It's going to be below freezing in almost all of Tennessee. Tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Things will improve on Monday in Tennessee. This will probably be the first day that most of us are back above freezing. Will actually be on Monday. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel if you're in Tennessee. Areas like Johnson City, Clarksville could still be near freezing, so it might not be, all in the clear yet by at least Monday, but Tuesday should definitely melt most of the ice. We could still see it refreeze, though, at night, as temperatures will be very cold, but areas like Dallas will be back into the 50s by Tuesday, the Gulf Coast into the 60s, so things will definitely be improving. But unfortunately, we will have another at least cold front. I wouldn't say Arctic blast, but another cold front during the middle of next week, which will bring cold air back down to the southeast again by Thursday and Friday. So again, this is not going to be as bad as what we're dealing with right now. And again, we'll have more details in another video forecast down the line. But another cold front is expected during the middle of next week. It could bring some snow. It could bring a little bit of freezing rain in some locations. It's not going to be a major winter storm, at least for right now. But across the board here, we're going to have more cold weather, and we'll have Alberta Clippers coming back into play, I think, by the end of the first week of February. So all across the Midwest and the Northeast, temperatures are going to be falling pretty dramatically, and we'll probably have a lot more snowfall in the Midwest and the Ohio Valley. I know many of you are missing the snow, especially in the Midwest. It's been quiet all month, other than it just being brutally cold, but I do think snow is going to make a return up there. So some good news for those that are skiers especially. Thank you, Captain, for becoming a member. What time is it supposed to start? Great question. I mean, technically this starts tonight. I mean, it is starting to snow, but we're not in winter storm conditions. The winter storm really will not start until overnight tomorrow into Saturday. So again, Saturday, we're going to see much more intense snow in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. Especially Cape Hatteras. But it will be very interesting to see how things play out. All right, I really do think, like, in this corridor here, we could have some very intense heavy bands of snow Saturday. And again, we will have live coverage, I think, most of Saturday covering this winter storm. I don't know to what extent, to be honest. It will probably not be as long as this previous winter storm. But we should be live for a good amount of Saturday. So make sure that you're subscribed to the channel if you're new here. Click the bell icon as well so you're notified with the latest updates. We should at least have one more video tomorrow. I don't know if we're going to do 2 videos either. It's kind of, you know, this winter storm, if it looks like this, we'll probably only have 1 video. Maybe a stream tomorrow night, but I'm not sure really yet. This is not really, again, this is not as significant as the last winter storm in terms of coverage. But if things change, again, if things change, that'll prompt a second video. If things change dramatically, we could even be live again tomorrow. Like, that's all on the table. But Saturday, we will be live for coverage because we'll have all sorts of cameras and live storm chasers out there. Thank you, Cat Lady, for the $20 super chat, and Kathleen for becoming a member. Well, the North Georgia mountains and Jasper, Georgia look like, asks Patsy with the $5 super chat. Yeah, so really anywhere in Georgia, we're not really going to be talking about significant snowfall for most of the state. If you're over in Gainesville, Athens, basically anywhere near the mountains, Clayton, Towaca, or Tocoa, Washington, Thompson, that's where we're talking about 3 to 5 inches of snow in this area. The Atlanta area back through Waynesboro is going to be more like 1 to 3 inches. So Atlanta, we should see a little bit of snowfall accumulation. And then back over off to the west near Somerville and surrounding areas, we're really only talking about flurries, maybe a coating. Savannah could see a coating of snow. We might even have an inch near Bluffton and Charleston, a few inches possible between Charleston and North Myrtle Beach. And then we're talking about basically 6+ inches of snow if you see yourself in the purple or pink. And the green. All of those areas will be much more significant. How do we get a video to you tomorrow? If you're talking about just sending in a video, you can go to our link in the description. It's reports.maxvelocitywx.com, and you can feel free to send us in a video, photos, all that sort of stuff. Again, we look at those things a lot. I honestly plan on, like, we're revamping our website right now. One of the things I have an idea of, I'm not going to say the idea, but I have an idea that basically will actually have photos and videos more meaningful. We actually might, like, make an archive or something like that of events and stuff like that, and maybe some other stuff. So, you know, you guys sending in photos and videos from some of these major winter events and even, you know, severe weather events in the future could actually be used towards some, like, projects on the website they'll be working on. Again, our website right now, it's very basic, but we're really revamping it right now. It'll be a lot cooler here in a few weeks. Thank you, Est, for the $50 super chat. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for the support. Also, thank you to Michael with the super chat. How's Marble, North Carolina looking? Might be losing your marbles this weekend if you don't get that much snow, because you're right now in the maybe 3 to 4 inch range at best. Not looking at much snowfall there. It's just south of Maryville. Basically anywhere over here west of the Appalachians are really not going to be looking at anything too significant. Where am I from? I'm over in Florida. Come give a talk at my med school? Or I know nothing about medicine. Or doctor stuff at all. I am so uneducated in that space. Thank you, Doug, for the $20 super chat. Max's hoodie fund? What's wrong with my hoodie? I love my hoodie. I've been wearing this, like, all the time. I have a few of these Max Velocity hoodies. If you want to get one of these hoodies, by the way, they're at shopmaxvelocity.net. They're very comfortable. I'm not wearing it to plug merch. It's just literally, I'm in Florida. Hoodie weather happens maybe once every year, maybe once for 1 week out of the year. So I really only have, you know, 3 of these Max Velocity hoodies, and that's it. Like, there's just not really any reason to have hoodies. I'm going to be honest. We might show you guys a preview of our up and coming website here. Or I guess we will. All right, so guys, this is gonna be revamped here very soon, but we're working on a very brand new website, and so this is the beginning of our website. All right, so this is I'm gonna show you guys the before and after, just so you guys are aware of how terrible I want to say our website looks right now. This is what the website looks like right now. It's basically useless. There's like literally nothing on it. You know, you can get directed to the weather report site. There's nothing on it. There's nothing useful. We're working on a website that you guys can check in on every single day to look at your weather, what our latest forecasts are, all of that. You know, it has, you know, a weather tab, has submitting reports, merch stuff, like all that stuff's gonna be on the website. It'll have headlines about what is ongoing. you can already see we're starting to, work on that. And you can see our latest forecast on here. You can, look at our socials, all that good stuff. You can look at your local weather as well. And so you can see that on the bottom of your screen. That's another feature that we're working on right now. And then this is a little bit more scroll down. So this is looking at our, like for example, if you want to look at Franklin, Tennessee's weather, all right, this is what the active alerts are. This is the weather that we're forecasting for that area. And so this is basically a replacement for your weather app because we'll be actually trying to implement our own algorithms into all of this. So we're going to be making it so that this weather information is accurate, reliable, and honest, just like our videos, right? And this is going to make it easier so I don't have to go over every single location. It'll be able to maybe even show you how much snowfall is going to happen in your location. So this will be very cool whenever it does come out. And then there's another page here in the about section right now. It just basically talks about who I am. But yeah, and we're working on a lot of stuff here. This will be really cool. Hoping it releases in the next couple of weeks. But again, there's gonna be a lot of cool features, lots of cool things on the website that you can interact with. And again, I'm really excited about releasing. There's a lot of stuff, again, that I'm not showing there that is coming because there's a lot of cool stuff that we're working on that I'd rather keep on the low until we actually have fully ready to go. Thank you, Head for Lighters, for the $5 super chat. Shout out to Nicole for the $20 super chat, asking about Patrick Springs in Virginia. If you're over in Patrick Springs, talking right around 8 to 10 inches of snow. I think if you're in, again, Virginia Beach, those surrounding areas, I know we have a lot of people asking about Virginia Beach. I also think 8 to 10 inches is what we could expect there. Cole with a $50 super chat says, Rhode Island, please. Yeah, back over in Rhode Island, not really looking at much. All right, unless the storm track shifts further west and north, we're maybe talking a coating to 3 inches, depending on where you are. So, again, if this were to shift more to the west and north, we could easily be talking about over 6 inches, but for right now, it does not look significant. The only winter storm watches that are in effect right now in the Northeast are only Cape Cod and Nantucket. Also, huge shout out to Josh with the $200 super chat. W's in the chat for Josh. Thank you for keeping us up to date in real time. Really appreciate that. What about citrus crops? Yeah, crops are going to be damaged this weekend and at risk, to say the least, because we do have extreme cold coming, guys. If you have crops, any sensitive vegetation, make sure to protect it because we're going to be dropping below freezing, even in Florida, as early as tomorrow night. But Saturday and Sunday, it's going to get very cold there. All right, so if you have any crops, protect them. If you have any sort of falling iguana friends, bring those inside. They'll be falling off of trees throughout the day on Saturday, Sunday, and even Monday. Falling iguanas are a serious risk, and we could have exploding trees, maybe up in the Northeast somewhere as well. Shout out also to Derek with the $50 Venmo donation. You guys are way too kind tonight. High Point, North Carolina. Check it out. Oh, completely off topic, but I got a birthday gift from none other than Riley, and now I have a mini dartboard on my desk now. This is my birthday gift from Riley. I also got some other gifts from you guys in the mail. I'm going to do probably a fan mail opening at some point down the line because I've been getting a lot of fan mail recently. If you guys want to send fan mail, there is an address in the description, but I just thought of it because it's right in front of me. It's actually pretty cool. I can just throw darts whenever I want. I won't do it during streams, but when I'm working off stream, I sometimes fidget with it. Riley just said we need a darts cam. We need a darts cam right on my desk. But yeah, back over in the High Point area, Greensboro, we're talking 8 to 12 inches of snow from this winter storm. Thank you, Lax, for the $10 super chat. Storm Chaser, Tornado Pagey, and Bryce Shelton, they work very closely with us. They are on a lot of our live streams, and they're also giving me a heating blanket that arrives tomorrow for my birthday. They're getting me a heating blanket. That is how cold it's getting in Florida. I don't have a heating blanket. It's about to get cold. I don't know how to explain it. But, like, guys, it's... What are the temperatures right now? Let's go to one of the radar mega cycling ports. It's only 60 right now. It's 60 degrees here on the east coast of Florida. And you guys can say womp womp all you want, but guys, it's cold. All right, and it's about to get worse. It's going to get down to like 20 on Sunday. 20 degrees, I might literally freeze. That actually rhymed. Degrees and freeze, kind of. I legit might freeze. If you guys don't hear from me on Sunday, it's going to be cold. Riley just said it's 2 degrees here. Yeah, whatever. It's cold. It's gonna be cold here. Wind chill down to like 10 to 15 in Florida too. Hey Jeremiah for the $20 super chat. Hey also Cold for becoming a member. Welcome to the Velocities, and as well as Barba for becoming a member. Is Pennsylvania gonna get any snow? Right now, not expecting any. Again, things could change. There'll be a better chance of snow during the beginning to middle portion of next week, but probably not anything too significant. I think this winter storm is going to be mostly the Carolinas, and the reason why the Sunmail is highlighting more areas is because there is an off chance that this could shift more to the west. Riley has an update. Go ahead, Riley.
Hey Mac, so earlier in the stream we talked about an hour ago how there's a updated winter storm watch for Gary, Indiana that did just get upgraded to a winter storm warning. So this is for heavy lake effect snow with accumulations over 6 inches, with totals up to a foot being possible, and a snow rates of 2 inches or more per hour. So that is for Gary, Indiana, and basically that entire county there.
Alrighty, thank you, Riley, for the update. So we now have a winter storm warning for a singular county, just one singular county. Here back over in Indiana, and this again for a winter storm that's expected. The National Weather Service right now is forecasting over 6 inches of snow near Valparaiso, Chesterton, and as well as Michigan City. And I wouldn't even be surprised if they had a small winter storm warning just for the Laporta area near Michigan City. But for right now, it's just for the Valparaiso area. Mainly for those right along the immediate, Great Lakes area. It's not going to be for everybody. Ryan with the $10 super chat asking for a Myrtle Beach forecast. Myrtle Beach is one of the areas that I do want to caution you. There is a possibility of some freezing rain tomorrow night and early Saturday. So we could see a glazing of ice, maybe up to a 20th of inch of ice, which means roadways could easily be slick and slippery. That could cause, major travel problems, possibly even accidents as well. So be on alert for that tomorrow night. But on top of that, we're going to be talking at least around 3 to 6 inches of snow, I think, for Myrtle Beach. North side of Myrtle Beach will be pushing closer to 7 to 8. South side, if you're like South Myrtle Beach near like Georgetown, we're going to be down closer to 3 to 4. So you're kind of in the middle of that divide there. Chicago snow. Not expecting a whole lot of snow in Chicago, but lake effect snow is going to set up tomorrow, and we could see some bands of lake effect snow tomorrow impact Chicago. We might see a few inches in the downtown area, but it's not going to be a whole lot. It's going to be very localized where we see those heaviest totals. And that's, again, mainly right along, the Great Lakes. Hey, Shannon for the super chat. Happy birthday, Max. Bundle up. I'm bundled up, trust me. I might be up to 3 jackets, though, by Saturday night on stream. Just depends on how cold it gets. Good news, I still have food and ice from the last winter storm. That's a W. Hey, if you still have ice, or if you still have food, I mean, a lot of you probably still have a lot of food from the last winter storm, but that's valid. Riley has another update. Go ahead, Riley.
Hey Max, one thing that someone just talked about in chat, which is actually a kind of cool that I think we should talk about over here, is if you go up to Unalaska, Alaska, there's a special weather statement there for volcanic ash. So that's been talked about a few times in the chat, but that is a real thing that's happening, and that's from 2 volcanoes that I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce. I'd like to hear someone try to pronounce it, but it's not going to be me. But that is a real thing that's happening up there in Alaska, for those of you who were asking.
I don't see it on my map. Can you pull it up on the other monitor? All right. So apparently there is special weather statements in Alaska. Oh, that because I'm in the completely wrong zip code. Oh, I don't have it on my map still. All right. So waiting for it to pop up, but apparently there are volcanic eruptions possible in Canada. Weather just keeps getting crazier. Storm Media with the 17 months says 0ZHRRR is 16.5 inches of snow and counting for Jacksonville. Does it? I haven't really looked at the HRRR snowfall accumulation. Let me check it out. This is the radar. I'm going to put a new tab on here so we can just go over to the snowfall accumulation. Hey, Dustin for the super chat. Let's look at the HRRR here. I do think we're going to have overperforming snow, to be honest. Look at that. Jeez. Let me zoom in on just North Carolina here. Where is North Carolina? This is South Carolina. Did I skip by North Carolina? Oh, it's right here. Look at that. This is just Saturday. showing a large band of around 16 to 18 inches of snow in eastern North Carolina. Again, I honestly think there will be some spots that do overperform from what it's showing right now. It'll be interesting to see how this winter storm pans out. All right, so Riley just pulled up the special weather statement. So it's over here in Una, Alaska. If you want to click on it, go ahead. Resuspended ash for... Yeah, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that either. I'll try to do Okmok. I think that's how you pronounce it. And then Vidov. Are those close? Close pronunciations? I don't know. Really, there's some volcanic ash over there in Alaska. They Gary with the super chat. My go-to weatherman. Appreciate that. What are the odds of dry sliding in Raleigh? It's possible. Again, dry sliding could happen in several places with this event. And so don't be surprised if one location overperforms a couple towns next to you and one really underperforms in your area. Like, again, there will be some dry slots and there will be probably some very sharp divides in some spots. Like, we could have a difference between 5 and 10 inches of snow only a county over. There will be some dry slotting, I think, from this winter storm, unfortunately, for some of you that want a lot of snow. So, obviously, I've been showing you guys the forecast in terms of, how much snow you can realistically expect in these areas, but at the end of the day, like, these numbers could easily be different because of dry slotting. It's just an average across the board right now that we're expecting 8 to 12 for most of the state, at least in North Carolina and upstate South Carolina, but unfortunately, there will definitely be some locations that do underperform, and there will be some that overperform. It's just going to happen because this winter storm is going to take some time to develop. So dry sliding is definitely on the table. One area that dry sliding probably won't happen much of will be over here in western or eastern North Carolina near Cape Hatteras. And so snowfall should consistently be over a foot there. How about Tampa and Sarasota, Florida? I think a coating of snow is possible in some very localized areas. That'll be mostly north of Tampa. So the Spring Hill area, north of Clearwater, you guys could see a coating, but I don't think it'd be that crazy. It's gonna be crazy for Florida standards, but I don't know if we're gonna see really anything significant in terms of accumulation. Keep in mind, the last time that we saw accumulating snowfall in Tampa was back in 1979, I want to say. Was it 1979? 1977. It was January 19th of 1977 was the last time we had accumulating snowfall in Tampa, ended up causing about 200 accidents. If you look at my screen here, bottom right of your screen, it says that there is currently a 2% chance for Tampa, Florida to see at least a 1/10 of an inch of snow. So, yeah, there isn't really much of a chance. Orlando's at currently a 0% chance. Jacksonville, you guys are at least at a 4% chance of seeing accumulating snowfall. Brunswick, Georgia is at a 44% chance. And then Waycross at about a 17% chance. Atlanta, Georgia is sitting at an 83% chance of any snow accumulation. So that's good news over there. You want some snow. Bad news for the drivers because it's going to be probably chaotic over there. If we go over here into like the Raleigh area, Raleigh is currently sitting at a 100% chance of seeing snow, 99% chance of at least 1 inch, 98% of 2 inches or more, and then in terms of seeing anything over 12 inches of snow, 12 inches of snow or more right now for Raleigh is a currently 34% chance, and then an 8% chance. So there's a better chance of 18 inches of snow in Raleigh than there is a chance of any snow in Tampa right now happening. So we're looking at about an 8% chance of 18 plus inches of snow in Raleigh. So the odds are there. Norfolk, anywhere near Virginia Beach, the low end is 3 inches, expected is 8, and then 16 inches is the high end. Thank you, Sellout, for the $20 super chat. Hampton, Virginia. You're over in Hampton, Virginia. We're going to be talking 8 to 12 in that area. As long as the winter storm stays on path. If it does shift any further offshore, the number will definitely drop there. But at this point, I think it's safe to say most of this area, the snowfall's pretty much locked in at least being around that number. There are other areas, though, that could fluctuate further north and south over the next couple of days. Hey, Odoni for the $5 super chat. Any snow for Franklin, Tennessee? I don't think anywhere like west here of like kind of the Sparta and Crossville area is going to see a whole lot of snow. There is possibility of some snow tomorrow morning, though, if you're in Nashville and Franklin. I don't think we're going to see anything that significant, though, in terms of accumulation. Like maybe a coating in some locations is possible. An inch of snow would be extremely surprising if we saw that tomorrow morning, because we will have some snow passing by tomorrow morning. We already have some snow flying out there, in fact, back over in Kentucky and southern Illinois and southern Indiana near Princeton and Louisville. There's a slightly heavier band of snow moving towards Princeton right now, but it's very light stuff. It's very dry in these areas, so a lot of the snow isn't even reaching the ground currently. But there's a live camera here in Lexington, and you can see occasionally a few of the snowflakes flying. Well, the camera just froze. They wait for the camera to refresh. But it's only 21 degrees here right now, and we have seen a couple of snowflakes flying out there back over just to the south of Lexington. Riley has an update. Go ahead, Riley.
Hey Max, so real quick, let's talk about the major updates that the Storm Prediction Center did today. So for those of you who haven't heard yet, they basically completely changed the way that Storm Prediction Centers outlooks work across the country. So before we get into any sort of severe weather risk this season, I think we should talk about these new outlooks and what they look like. So what you're going to see is the addition of 3 new areas. These areas are the SIG 1, SIG 2, and SIG 3. So this is 3 different intensity levels of severe weather. You've heard us before talk about a 10 hatched or a 15 hatch talking about severe weather. We now have 3 different types of hatches. So the first is this dashed hatch that you're probably used to seeing. This is intensity level 1. We also have a going the other direction, a solid hatched. This is a SIG 2 or an intensity level 2. And then we also have intensity level 3 or SIG 3, which is a doubled hatch. So this is actually something that I've seen internally on some Storm Prediction Center outlooks. A lot of you are probably familiar with the 427 2011 tornado outbreak. I believe that is this outlook here. This is what that would have looked like if it was a this new version of the outlook. Actually, this is March 15th, 2025, but there's a few of them floating around out there, and we can see if we zoom in on this, actually, it's not going to let me zoom in, but if you look really closely, you can see 3 different levels of significance on this. So we have that single hatch, that solid single hatch, and then that double hatched area. So this is going to completely change the categorical risks that we've talked about and how the hatches relate to that. So starting on tornadoes, if we have no SIG risk, even if there's a 60% chance of tornadoes, the highest category that we would see is a 3. So that is an enhanced risk. If we have a SIG 1 risk, we could see a high risk given there's a 60% chance of tornadoes. If we have a SIG 2, if we have a 30% chance of tornadoes, that would be a high risk. And if we have a SIG 3, so that is that double hatch, it would also be a 30% chance for a high risk. I'm not going to go through every single thing on this chart. You can just sort of take a look at it, but it does change how categorical risks associate with tornado percentage, because we can have a very high tornado percentage, say a 60, and that only be an enhanced 3 out of 5 risk. A situation where you would see these is those QLCS tornadoes, where we're very confident on a lot of weak tornadoes occurring, but we know they're not going to be that strong. So that wouldn't be a high SIG level, meaning that we can have a elevated tornado percentage, but not elevated risk level. Now for wind, anytime you see a SIG 3, that is going to be a high risk, where this is going to be your almost certain derechos, your very strong bow echoes that we're talking about mostly in June, July, and August across the plains. Those are the kind of events that would see this. So if we have a 45% chance of a SIG 3 windstorm happening, it's going to be a high risk no matter what. In terms of a SIG 2, we can see that high risk start at a 60% chance, and then the rest of the risks go on down. For SIG 1, there's no high risks, but a moderate risk starts at a 60% chance of that occurring. And for a no SIG risk, the highest we can go is enhanced again. Now, I'll just let you guys take a look at the hail and day 3 total severe risks, and then basically break down what this change means for you. So I think the big misunderstanding with the outlooks as they are now is a lot of people in the general public are only going to look at the categorical risk level. So we're talking general thunderstorm, marginal, slight, enhanced, moderate, and high. That is going to be what most of the general public is seeing. If you're looking at this and you're not that familiar with severe weather, you're probably like, oh my Lord, this is a bunch of information. Where am I even supposed to begin when it comes to consuming this? This information, if you're on sort of that level of things where like this is a lot, it's really not for you. It's more for your weather forecasters, your meteorologists, your national weather services, people like that who want more detail from the same sort of products. That is who's going to be looking at this. So it's okay if you don't understand this off the bat. Last time the Storm Prediction Center made changes back in, I believe, 2014, we went from 3 categorical risks to 5. That's when we saw the system that we have now with the general thunderstorm, marginal, slight, enhanced, moderate, high
I'm
come
just gonna,
into
I want
play.
to cut you off for a second. For
Go
those that
ahead.
are asking, by the way, for what Riley's talking about, there is a link in the chat. So again, if you're just tuning in, we're just talking about this real quick, then we'll go back to snow. But basically, the National Weather Service, the Storm Prediction Center, we have basically new SPC outlooks that are coming, and they are obviously going to be a bit more complicated than what we're dealing with. You know, what we've been dealing with. I mean, again, this is going to be at another level of complexity, but at the same time, I think it helps us as meteorologists, for example, kind of explain this a little bit better in terms of the risk outline. So, and again, you kind of see that here. Go ahead again, Riley.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what I was going to saying is this is more complex on the back end, the same information on the front end. So when it comes to people like me and Max giving you information, this is what we're going to be looking at, and we're going to put it in an easier way for you to understand. But this is an important change where we're going to see more information on the back end, more forecast accuracy, and no change on the public front end of this in terms of what that risk is being portrayed as. So that's going to be hard to understand at first. It's going to be complicated. It was just like that last time the Storm Prediction Center changed their outlooks, but we're going to get used to it, and we're going to move on with these much better Storm Prediction Center outlooks and forecast tools.
All right, thank you, Riley, for the update. So yeah, again, it's a pretty complicated sort of thing that's been added to the Storm Prediction Center. We'll see how it plans out. I mean, again, the last big change that we've had really with SPC outlooks is back. When we basically went from only 3 categorical outlooks to having enhanced, moderate, high, like all those risks, marginal through high risks, were added, several years ago, and that obviously created a lot of complexity. But I think that's honestly a good change that we have more risks than just 3 or 4. I think having 5 is actually a good number. And across the board, I mean, hurricanes, for example, there's 5 categories, right? So maybe at some point we'll have categories for winter storms too. You never know. But good insight there. So I just said, explain this to me as if I am 5 years old. It's like going from, I don't know, like algebra 1 to differential equations in college. It's a major jump. I don't know. That's probably the best way I can explain it. Thank you, Circuit, for the $25 super chat. How cold this weekend in Nashville? It's going to get down to about 5 degrees. Yeah, it's going to get cold in Nashville. Riley just said, explain to me as if I'm 5 years old. It's basically going from a tricycle to a motorcycle. There you go. Big jump. By the way, I was looking at this while Riley was talking about it, but look at this. We're about to see snow in Tampa Bay, Florida before GTA 6. This is Saturday night. The NAM 3K is currently showing snow, and it's actually penetrating Tampa Saturday night and early Sunday for several hours. So, pretty impressive. Is this a snow hurricane? It's a snowcane. Yeah, it's a Category 6 snowcane. Now, I mean, like, the pressure is going to get down to around 960 millibars. It's basically going to be a snowcane. I don't think snowcane actually exists, but we're making it up. We're going to make it a snowcane. It's going to be the great snowcane of 2026. Hey, handling for the super chat. I don't think Southern West Virginia is going to see a whole lot from this, to be honest. I would maybe be seeing maybe a coating to a couple inches. It's mostly going to be tomorrow night into early Saturday, and then after that, it's all the snows down to your south and east. Big Bend of Florida going to get. Not expecting much in the Big Bend. You could get some snow flurries, though, Saturday, late morning, early afternoon, but pretty low odds of seeing anything really over the Big Bend. But again, the biggest impacts, just kind of reiterate, will be North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina. We do have state of emergencies, again, for both North Carolina and South Carolina right now. Kind of trademark snowcane. Yeah, right. That'd be pretty funny. Is Cape Cod out? Cape Cod's not out. Cape Cod, again, would be Saturday night into early Sunday. Mostly on Sunday, though. Again, it's going to depend on the track of this low pressure system. The European model still dumps over 6 inches of snow in Cape Cod. GFS doesn't have anything there, so it's I would say it's about a 50% chance of there actually being winter storm conditions. They've not upgraded to winter storm warnings yet for a good reason, and we're obviously still pretty far out from this even happening. It'd be Sunday morning, but yeah, if you're over in Cape Cod, there definitely could be some pretty significant snow, but it also could be nothing. We'll have to wait and see. Hey, K-Dot for the super chat. Did you see the Max Velocity hoodie stealing your content and it's AI slop? Yeah, I'm well aware. There are so many AI YouTube channels that have basically ripped off my thumbnails, my voiceovers, everything. It is really annoying. And that's one of them. And it's misleading to everybody that watches my videos. They see a video pop up from a channel called Max Velocity Hood thinking it's my second channel. It is literally not. It's just an AI channel that exists. It's ridiculous. It has gotten so bad. I literally made a tweet about it today. I never go to Twitter about that type of stuff, but like the fact that, you know, there's videos getting 30, 40,000 views that literally are direct ripoffs from my videos. It is literally word for word what I am saying on my videos, just transcribed into AI. It's an AI voice that is talking the entire time. It's ridiculous. I don't get how like those types of channels aren't getting banned. Maybe it will. I mean, like I reached out to YouTube, and so maybe something will happen, but like literally this is, I made a tweet about this earlier. Like it's ridiculous. This channel exists, and it's a random guy that doesn't exist. Again, that's an AI person showing all these thumbnails that are, all these thumbnails, by the way, are basically mine. It's just made into AI somehow. Like it's unbelievable. And the videos are copycat from mine, but the difference is on the right side, it's completely different. Like that just should not even be a thing. Of course, it's a bald guy. Of course, you know. Of course, it's a bald AI guy. Because I have no hair, obviously. Bro looks like he's 56 years old. Like, my goodness, I'm only 23. But it's not the first time. Like, this has been happening for a long time. It's been happening for months now. It's just, you know, the fact that somebody can literally just use my exact name and then put something after it and then make AI videos like that are, there's no skill to it at all, and it's just stupid. Should not exist. Guy's 67. Hey, Immortal for the super chat. Orange County, Orlando, Florida. It's gonna be cold. Temperatures will get down to the 20s and 30s, and then again, there might be some snow flurries. We'll have to wait and see. Thank you, Bird, also for the $10 super chat. You said no ice in Atlanta, but possible snow. Yeah, there's a possibility of snow. Not expecting ice accumulation. Could see it coating to maybe a couple of inches. Why don't you sue? It's somebody from the Netherlands. For the record, I mean, I am trademarked. Like that name is trademarked entirely. So like it is illegal entirely, but not really any way to trace back to the person. Just some random person, apparently. Happy birthday, Max. Appreciate it. Every page has like 10 dupes. There's a lot of dupes. It's been a big problem on TikTok for the longest time, but now it's becoming a pretty big problem on YouTube. Go figure. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Not expecting any snow really in Pittsburgh. I think maybe, again, some flurries if you're lucky, but it's going to be pretty dry up there this weekend. The account is gone? Oh, is it actually? No shot. Maybe YouTube actually did something that quickly. Nope, it's not. It's still there. Unfortunately. Gotta say, if YouTube already banned it, that's pretty lit. What's Chicago looking like? Maybe a coating to a few inches. If you're like downtown Chicago, east side of Chicago, there will be a better chance of more significant snowfall. I've had a lot of people asking about the dry slotting, and again, that's going to be a big problem, I think, as we go into Saturday here. And there will be plenty of dry slots that'll set up in certain locations, and there will be some spots that pick up, instead of 8 to 12 inches of snow, only maybe 5 or 6, and then some that pick up 14 to 16. Like, it's going to be a very vast, you know, it's going to be a very large area of difference here across the Carolinas. Riley, give me 1 second. I'll send it to you. How many screens are you looking at one time? Eight. Eight are on right now. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Got 8 monitors. Now we have more than 8 monitors. I just only use 8 for a stream. This is a pretty large number, though. Hey, Levi, for the super chat. And don't forget, we have a Discord server. If you want to join our Discord server, there is a link in the description. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter at MaxVelocityWX. In a year or two, we won't be able to tell the difference between AI and non-AI. I mean, it's already happening. Like, that's already a thing. These screens are showing anime. I'll tell you what's on every screen right now. The screen I'm looking at right now, that's the forecast stuff. The top one is my live stream. The other one on the left is where Riley is and my, streaming software is. The one on the bottom left is reports and all that stuff. And then on the left side, on the very far left side, that's the monitor that Riley can control. There's one at the top left that has nothing. The one on the top right has my chat and stuff. And then the bottom right actually has our Facebook live stream, which we're live on Facebook too, so. Anyway, Chip for the super chat. Matthews, North Carolina. I think I missed that. Any snow for Auburn, Alabama on Saturday? There could be some snow flurries again. I don't think it'll be anything major, but there could be some snow flurries there. All right, we got Matthews, North Carolina. If you're over in the Matthews area, that's near Charlotte, we're going to be right around probably 6 to 8 inches of snow there. Hey, Crystal for the super chat. What does WX stand for? That just means weather. Thank you, Nick, for the super chat. Apex, North Carolina. Apex Legends. Apex, North Carolina. We'll be talking about 8 to 12 inches there as well. And the totals, I would honestly give larger ranges for some of these areas because of the fact that, areas like Raleigh, Asheboro, like we could have like snow drifts, the winds are gonna be very high, and there will be some dry slotting. So there will be some locations that only get maybe 4, 5, 6 inches of snow, and some other locations could easily push towards 12 to 14. So it's gonna be a very sharp divide. Let's just say that. Hope you had a good birthday. It's been pretty good. I mean, I've been mostly uploading videos and live today. I did have a birthday dinner a little earlier, but it's still busy in terms of weather. I mean, this is again not as big of a deal as what we had last weekend, but at the same time, it's still notable. I mean, this is nothing small. This winter storm is going to be packing a punch in terms of snowfall this weekend. We'll have plenty of snow in the Carolinas and even possibility of some snow down in Florida. It's going to be interesting. And for the record, if I see snow in Florida on Saturday, if I see on radar it's snowing in my backyard, I will be leaving the stream for a few minutes because, I have not seen snow in like 6 years. So it's been a long time since I've even seen snow. I will be keeping an eye out myself because that's rare. Hey, Rocket for the super chat. How long is the atmospheric river event going to last in Seattle? Let me check. It's a very localized atmospheric river. It's not even impacting, it's not impacting California or anything. It looks like it's going to last at least until Tuesday of next week. It'll be kind of on and off, but at least through Tuesday. And things should get better after that. Happy birthday. Appreciate it. Snowball fight? Yeah, if you guys get videos of snowball fights, definitely send it in for sure. Climax, Virginia. If you're over in Climax, Virginia, we'll probably be right around 5 to 9 inches. Hey, Remy for the super chat. It's almost 11 p.m. How long can we be live? It's not that late. I mean, it actually is 11 p.m. It is actually getting late, but I was only going to be live for an hour and it turned into 2 hours. I don't know why. Sometimes, like, if I go live and I say I'm going to be live for an hour, like, that happened even last week. Like, the first stream that I planned on having for the winter storm impacting the United States, I only plan on being live for literally an hour, and then it ended up being, like, 3 hours long. Like, I get, like, stuck on live streams. I don't know why. Hey, Misty, for the $10 super chat saying happy birthday. Appreciate that. And at least Climax, Virginia exists, unlike the West Virginia town name that we said on stream last week. That one did not exist, and I read a super chat, and I was like, oh, that doesn't even exist. Riley, I'm not saying that town name, thank you. I'm not saying the one I said. I will not be repeating that. New York City totals, maybe a coating to an inch. If we see the winter storm shift a little further west tomorrow, then totals will dramatically go up. And again, if we have a big shift with our winter storm further west, we will definitely have a couple of videos tomorrow. We will probably go live tomorrow night. But if it stays like this, there will probably only be one video, maybe a live stream. Like, I mean, we could also have an in-between scenario where we have a couple of uploads or something. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, again, this winter storm, like, it looked a lot more intense just about 2 days ago, and now it's shifted more to the east, so it's mainly just going to be mid-Atlantic winter storm, but if it does shift for whatever reason west again, then, you know, we could end up having, you know, more videos and stuff like that. Thank you, by the way, whoever just said that in the chat about the live logo, just fix that. Thank you, Kevin. I saw your message. Alrighty, well, it's been about 2 hours, so we're gonna wind down the stream. But again, I do appreciate you guys all watching. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed another live stream. Again, I don't do live streams like this very often, but I figured it'd be a good time to go over this winter storm, kind of go over questions and stuff like that. If you guys enjoy these streams, definitely make sure to let me know in the comments and stuff like that. Like the stream as well. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. We're gonna have more live updates on Saturday for sure. Maybe tomorrow night, I don't really know, we'll see. Sunday, maybe a live stream, again, we'll see. And then we'll have videos, at least one video tomorrow, maybe a video on Saturday, and then Sunday we should have a video in the afternoon or something like that. I don't know, we'll see. I don't really know what our schedule is, to be honest. Like, I'm just gonna have to wait and see what happens tomorrow, basically. But just make sure you subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon so you're notified with the latest updates. Stay on this stream, you'll be redirected to our 24/7 live weather stream. So just stay on the stream and you'll be redirected automatically. We have live weather cameras, we have live radar, and a lot of other cool stuff, and music as well, playing 24/7. So make sure to check that out. Stay on the stream, you'll be redirected. Make sure to subscribe to my second channel as well, More Max Velocity. And if you have any questions about the weather, again, just watch the stream again. It has lots of useful information. All right, have a great one, and we'll see